Sarah Baartman, daughter of South Africa. She went to Europe willingly, thinking she would find riches and fame. They fooled her. In Europe, she found humiliation, forced to be a spectacle because many of them had never seen a naked black woman's body. They nicknamed her Hottentot Venus. They were fascinated by her large, full breast, big hips, buttocks, and big lips. They stared, touched, and laughed. She couldn't really be human because she didn't look like a white woman. Her skin was the deepest shade of the darkest chocolate. Her hair was a thick black cloud on her head. Doctors and medical students scribbled madly in their medical journals descriptions of her body. She was later sold to a circus where she danced naked for the entertainment of white people. In their mind, her large breasts, buttocks, and her elongated labia made her inferior and oversexed. This justified their inhumane treatment of the black man and the black woman. No longer wanted in the circus, she became a prostitute and later died from loneliness, shame, and disease. She had been in Europe for only 5 years and was only 25 when she died. But her story doesn't end there. Even in death, she wasn't allowed dignity. Europeans were fascinated and obsessed with Sarah Baartman. When she died, they cut out her vagina, her brain, her skeleton, preserved them in jars, and placed them all on display along with a plaster of her actual body. For 160 years, people could walk into a museum, look at Sarah Baartman's vagina, her brain, her skeleton, and see what she looked like naked. In 1974, they took down the display, but they still kept her remains. It wasn't until 2002 that her remains were returned to her homeland and given a long overdue proper burial. Some would say Hottentot Venus, aka Sarah Baartman, was one of the first video vixens. Before television, before radio, Sarah Baartman became the blueprint for degrading and humiliating the black woman on a worldwide level. Sarah, this one is for you. I will not forget you. I will not allow others to forget you. I will make sure our people remember you and know your name. Black America, I find you guilty of murder. You're slowly killing the black woman with your blatant disrespect for black womanhood. We have pimped our daughters and mothers for platinum record sales, new cars with big rims and mansions, while Eve's daughters drop it like it's hot for crumpled dollar bills and the chance to be nominated the year's best video vixen. We spit on Sarah Baartman's memory, and Harriet is turning over in her grave while Sojourner stands at the throne of the Almighty praying, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Do you? Do you understand what you have done, what you are doing? How many black women came before you and played the maid and prostitute so you wouldn't have to? How many of us have turned down roles because we valued how the world viewed black women? But not today's daughters. For a few dollars, they feed into America's jungle bunny fantasy, shaking their things half naked with a smile upon their faces, but their eyes say, save me from myself. And where is black America? We are on the sidelines cheering because baby girl is no longer a resident of the ghetto. She's riding in Bentleys or Benzes draped in furs and diamonds, and the record label just bought her a fat house. But have we forgotten? Massa always kept his main hoe close to the big house or a house to call her own, as long as she opened the door when he came knocking. And he will be coming back. It's so sad. Back then we were forced to degrade ourselves to the level of being some man's whore. Today we willingly degrade ourselves. The black woman has become America's #1 whore. We fought that label for so many years, but here our daughters came along and solidified the deal. But many of us sold our daughters to them. We sold them for houses with jacuzzi-sized bathtubs and the chance to say, "That's my baby on TV." Have we no shame? No guilt? We can't blame the white man for this one. In concert stadiums all over the world, our black men proclaim to the world that his women are bitches and hoes. It's so common, some of us think that this is our name and answer to it. We have forgotten our grandmother's pain, her struggle to carry the burden so we wouldn't have to. Do you hear the ancestors crying out, "Is this what we died for?" I say no. Wake up, black woman. Wake up, black America. Take back your dignity. The power is in your hands.
Special greetings. Welcome to the show. You're locked in. Another day. Another rising. Give thanks and praises for life. You're locked into the A1 station, www.sfdcradio.com. I do apologize for the late starting. I was here on time originally. I had to return back to the tabernacle and pick up some bits and pieces. Oh, it cool out there, we. Special welcome to the show. Remember, said this particular show, the Wednesday Forum, tribute to the living elders, tribute to the Roots Rock reggae elders. One also link up the young artists, later on artists, them a rise up all over the place. Watch out for 9:31. Also catch up. Shish Kebab, Urban Delight artists. Shish Kebab, yeah, look forward to link up with Shish Kebab. It's all about the urban artists, 9:30 United Kingdom time. Watch out for that, they link up. Shish Kebab, we say special greetings, special welcome to the family and management. You don't know, say we're warm up things right on here, so www.sfdcradio.com. Members of Luton Town with their beaming all over the world. Welcome, greetings all go out to Africa, Mama Africa, the Somali West Coast of the Gambia. Hold tight, Power Bojang, and the whole of the massive. Raggy Road, Baggery Bojang. Sakabai, hold tight, Sakabai, original battlefield warrior. Everything under control. Hold tight, box. One of the school teachers, them will say hold tight every time. Hold tight, Luton Town, Marsh Farm, stops to Lucy Farm, Ockle Ring, Boys and Mates, another shooting, another killing going on Marsh Farm. What's going on? What is going on in the 3 counties here, man? Another shooting, another killing. What's going on? We've got clarification of what's going on. That's because, so like I said, the youngsters a few years, there was some kind of emergency meeting going on again. Weird. Come every time something going on like this emergency meeting not go on, we see emergency meeting not go on, people end up getting funding money to deal with the problem. No problem like get started out till more youth dead, then more meeting come again for more funding money. Hey, them I want them, yo, them have to start out themselves for now. Because we see big things going on and small things going on, all things going on in Luton, SFDC Radio there as a people station. I try to deal with the matters. And some people same time, but they were supposed to deal with the youth. They make the youth them dead off. I get money and funding on the youth them interests, and nothing now go on. The same more problem continue. Lock into the A1 station. We say hold tight every time. My name is Sir Kush Genesis. This is www.sfdcradio.com. Take them with the seatbelts, buckle up on the seatbelts. Remember, say we use music like a metaphor. Tribute to the living elders. Tribute to the Roots Rock dancehall legends. Them also. I want to take some tracks about dancehall legend titled Barrington Levy this evening. Watch out for that one there. Our tribute to our living elder, Mr. Lawrence Palmer from Luton Town, manager, CEO, founder, Gemini Sound, youth worker, head of youth services, entrepreneur in Luton, Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire. Want to catch up with the elder later on. Yes, living elders. Welcome to the vibration. Hold tight.
This is the original selector Hans from West Coast Radio in Gambia, lagging to the Nubian beats with Kush Genesis. Stay blessed massive, don't touch the dial. Righteousness time, each one teach one.
I represent Sir Kush Genesis. I'm say SFDC Radio worldwide. So I say love London, Birmingham, the whole world. You okay, you know what I mean? But just about the elders them. Alright. I pick a bus and tell them say, the bang, the bang, the bang. The cat the pick a come for rip it up and mash it up. The bang, the bang, the bang. Sir Kush I show some respect to them. Right I know me say me big up all the elders them. We set the foundation and set the trend. The young artists them a go up and up for them no show love or cause them no. Listen this, come listen this. Some me send me big up under the real fire blazer. We blow the saxophone and make it amaze ya. You make that tried it from in a Bob Marley days. How me a talk the legend in Fraser. In a Indians me listen to Chicken and Smiley. The Riley said D-Brown and Jimmy Riley. For this the elders it highly unlikely. And if me pass the place, the judge just smite me. Who say him respect all the elders them. We set the foundation and set the trend. Some use sticker, jump up what about them. Bust gun and them no respect all the elders them. Kush Genesis and respect all the elders them. The ones them were alive and the ones were dead. Some producer we just come out talk like so them first come. And them no respect all the elders them. And remember say, real music can never build quick. And no overnight for the captain, the big ships so big up. Woman and Lady G must have it. General Chase, Berry, Sam, Yellow Man and King Stitch. Chose Wheel and Cockatee come run the dance hall. Ninja Shabba Bucho, wave the flag tall. Capleton dead, every name can call. Kusha beat them up one and all. Members say them grow me, them grow me, them grow me. Big up the elders and them come before me. Kusha say them grow with them, grow with them, grow with. And me say, we come to tell them not the story. Yo, we say we respect all the elders them. We set the foundation and set the trend. The young artists them a grow up and them not show love. I know say for respect foundation, listen this. And how you feel, go like the foundation, you no care. Not the Uriah, the real pioneer. Burning spear did sit up on the first higher chair. Or what take them young lion here. Them now this is stereograph cassette from back in the days. Collagen from Scarpa used to mash up the place. But the Kush him and talk, we said the dog, the bark. The man they have the real radio. Alright, me send me big up all the elders them. We set the foundation and set the trend. Them and them a go up and up for them no show love cause them no respect all the elders. Kush Genesis say him respect all the elders them. We set the foundation and set the trend. The young artists a grow up and listen this, I got me pick a him a red for Genesis. I remember me a little boy me ear Henry Stelitz, one of the best producer ever that Mikey Bennett. For sure respect me.
Emancipation they say will never come. Whoa, will never come. And I say man is doomed to die. Down in a Babylon with war and strife, grief and terror and tongues of hate. This I know will soon abate. For I have seen the land of my father in a vision. From the hills of captivity's plains, yes, I've the seed of a righteous one has come to declare, for I be slain for my brothers and my sisters, and my brethren in the yoke of oppression. For the child who only knows of hate and destruction, deliverance has come, deliverance has come. In a desert time, come, deliverance has come.
Special greetings, special welcome to the show. Track taken from the original Luciano. Brand new album titled Deliverer. Shish Kaboom, 9:30, brand new artist rising up.
I have seen the land of my father in tradition. Yeah.
Later on, we got Mr. Lawrence Palmer coming in the area. All about tribute to we live in El Zemino. When they kick off with Gemini Sound, where I move from the Gemini Sound to the youth work experience, to the head of youth services, to being an entrepreneur. All about accomplishments, all about achievements, all about acknowledgements. Yes, while people still alive.
Two men called wise they.
One also play special tribute to also
Like captivity.
another living legend, the roots, dancehall, atmosphere, original Barrington Levy. Watch out for them selection there.
That's what they say. My destiny is in
9:30, remember, so you got the Urban Delight, Shishkaboo, young artist rise up. I think it's Jamaican, they were linked with Jamaica, it's Jamaica, UK, we're going to get that clarified.
and I want to be free. Yeah.
Gonna squeeze in some of the female selection them later on, same times, and about the balance and the concept, duality.
Yeah, deliverance has come, deliverance has come. In a decent time, come.
Mix me down, operator, mix me down to the ground. Mix me down, Papa Philip, mix me down till me touch the ground. Inna the dance, all this a skank all night. No broke a fight. Inna the dance, all this a skank all night. DJ does a do it right. So mix me down, operator, mix me down till me really touch the ground. Mix me down, operator, mix me down till me really touch the ground. Ladies come mix me up, they jump and twist. Lead up, let the crowd a tear off the gate. Play drum and bass, me up to wind up me waist. Play calypso, me this a dance for me too. Mix me down, operator, mix me down. Mix me down till me touch the ground. Mix me down, operator, mix me down. Mix me down in a style and fashion. Whoa, oh. Whoa, oh. Listen. Here comes some bad boy, a bust big chat, but me never get jumpy. Here comes some bad boy, a fire pure shot, but me never get dummy. Here comes the cops, fast on the spot, but me never get jumpy. Here comes some cops, this a fire pure shot, but me never get scary. Just mix me down, operator, mix me down. Mix me down till me really touch the ground. Mix me down, Papa Philip, mix me down. Mix me down in a style and fashion.
Roots rock reggae dancehall, veteran, Tony Tough.
Oh. Body's a rubber dub.
Track title, Mix Me Down.
Style and fashion, rubber dub style and fashion. Rubber dub style and fashion. Oh, oh.
Seasons and time shall tell. Wicked man, go to hell. Go to hell.
Kunashka, hard road to travel. Yo, we got a long, long way to go. I promise peace of love and care, and the whole heap of fruits, Mama Africa old.
He's from London, Bongo Canny.
Yes, we got a lot of things to
He says a hard road to travel.
Peace.
You may agree, you may disagree.
and
Welcome to the show.
Mama Africa old. Well, do you want to see the promised land? Join me, let's fight those works of God.
Locked down, locked into this.
In for destruction, them a use them money fi fly with, still bam. No thought for you and me, that's what I ascertain from the wicked man policy.
To apologize there, sir.
No finality,
You could tickle in on the tour.
but the modernization go away with
Special greetings, welcome to the show. If it's locked down,
road to travel.
track taken from Bongo Canny.
Long, long way to go. I
Royal Lace,
promise.
royal greetings to my Empress.
Yeah.
One time, Empress every time, one perfect love, you don't know it, go.
Old, hard road to travel. Yes, we got a lot of things to know. I promise peace of love and care.
Hold tight, scrumptious.
For fruits, Mama Africa old.
Man called Brother Tyrant.
Perplex, Jaja people thoughts. But no worry, my friend, them gonna feel his wrath. Them mess with that, the part, this is the aftermath. Fret not, Ja people, you're on the right path. Them a walk with death and them a embrace sin. Through Babylon work, them a prove self-nepotism. I don't want to live in sin, but prophecy must reveal. So let the fool do them thing, yeah. Hard road to travel. Yes, we got a long, long way to go. I promise peace, of love and care, and the whole heap of fruits Mama Africa hold. Hard road to travel. Yes, we got a lot of things to know. I promise peace, of love and care, and the whole heap of fruits Mama Africa hold. Get your children, my beg, gonna hold it up. Hey, the love in your heart to overflow like a cup. Love your enemy, though they treat you like muck. Don't be evil to make your head back here up. Them want bring reminding of them computer age. Neglect, reject, still want treat we like slave. Here come Rasta children who are strong and brave, who love them and bond them before them return to cave. Oh well, yeah. Hard road to travel. Yes, we got a long, long way to go. I promise peace, of love and care, and the whole heap of fruits Mama Africa hold. Hard road to travel. Yes, we got a lot of things to know. I promise peace, of love and care, and the whole heap of fruits Mama Africa owns. Do you want to see the promised land? Join me, let's fight those works of the wicked man. Fighting for destruction. Them a Jews, them money fi fly with, still I make bomb. And no thought for you and me. That's what I ascertain from the wicked man policy. No penalty. Congo man no want them modernization. Do it with your luxury, yeah. Hard road to travel. Yes, we got a long, long way to go. I promise you.
Yes, long time when I see Bongo Candy. Bongo say hard road to travel. Bongo Candy. We say hold on on the road in a Bongo Candy, because you don't know it's you know, you don't take, for you to take your eyes off of the prize, everything done said. Yes. Nice tune coming from Bongo Candy, UK artist. Yes, we say we touch it on film every time. Yes, London based. Don't know sexy motor rendition. Shish kebab. My apologies every time. 1,000 apologies. Shish kebab. We're going to get used to that name this though. You know, every time, man. 9:30 live on the air. Right just in the UK. Shish kebab. We'll find out what that name they mean. What the significance of the name. What they born so. I'm stage name say go so. 9:30. Watch out for it. Also remember say Mr. Lawrence Palmer at the era later on. Tribute to our living elders. After this track I want to play a few a brief tribute also to living legends that dance all or push reggae music all over the world. Barrington Levy. Watch out for some of my favorite tracks in this song. Into the www.sfdcradio.com. We're coming at you live originally. Luton Town, Bedfordshire, United Kingdom. We're beaming out to the world. We say big up going out every time to the Urban Delight crew. When we say Raw Family, we say big up in the Raw Family. 13K. Wagwan. Yeah, man, we know see your feature part also on one of the track there, man. Which track your feature part also combined from 13K. Father, me love you. Don't know, so we have to go touch them track there later on. Go so now. You locked down and you tuned in, remember say 24/7s were there, so run up and down Cyber World, do see what's going on. Unite with the station, don't fight it. don't know, say upon this forum, we'd like to also play special tribute, yes, to the roots rock, reggae dance artists them who have keep the consciousness of the dancehall positive from that time to now. That's why we don't wait for even the legends them, the artists them to pass away. You have many roots artists them nowadays, many people into the dancehall vibes, and forget that the foundation of the dancehall has always been the roots and the culture. Yes, and we have many artists them from that time that were still alive. And you know what I mean, we use this part of the forum to highlight some of them, living legends. You see me, I said the roots rock reggae artists them who nice up dancehall in a conscious style and thing. You see me, I say right now this part of the program where we want to invent it, but we want to pay a tribute. You see me, I say because every week we try to endeavor male or female. This evening is a male we have lined up and bound the name as Barrington Answorth Levi. Yes, Levi. Yes, so we're going next 20 minutes or so, next 20 minutes or so, just run some of the selection them again. And living artists, yes, for some, not for the youth who grew up, and not for the artists who grew up. And I talk about dancehall, know your roots, know your history, know your culture. Remember the veterans them and the elders them who paved the way and set the foundation, set the groundation, so that many dancehall artists can enjoy in a full joy when they die today. And some of them are mod up the vibration after the elders them that try to set the record straight from morning. You see me, I say, so when we start say certain things start getting mod up, at least we know so there's a history and there's a roots to return to set the record straight. Oh, and what was the foundation of dancehall? So like we say, we highlight, yes, not some of the artists them who pass on the ancestral realms, but specifically the ones them who still there, still alive until I push the vibration. Yes, Barrington Answorth Levy, born 30th of April 1964. That means says today is age 50, still alive. Clarendon, Jamaica is where he born. Yes, reggae dancehall artist. Yes, active since 1976. And when you check the history, he formed his first band, which was called Mystic Multitude. Yes, with his first cousin, yes, Everton Dacros, and they pair together. From that time, they released the tune which enough of us know as My Black Girl. 1977. As times move on with many careers and many things, enough of these artists have been venture upon. Barrington Levi established his own solo career. Yes, the following year after him do that tune, so it's like 1977, 78, him embark upon his own solo career. Yes, and cut a couple of tunes, a tune titled A Long Time Since We Don't Have No Nice Time, and I want to try and draw out that track later on among some of the others them, and some others, many other tracks, because the thing about it, when we go to the cocoa basket, when we realize how much tune Barrington Levy have, there's no way we're going to get a touch upon the whole like you don't know, so it's more upon top of the plenty. Artists who cover enough and versatility, enough renditions. You see me, I said some singles them never make it, some never do so good. But this artist is active from the age of 14 years old. Yes, and popular also. When you check out the history in Jamaica and Jamaican dancehall, Barrington Levi popular from the age at least 14. Yes, them man there perform at many Jamaican dancehalls. Yes, and so I'm gonna share some of the I favorite Barrington Levy selection, special tribute to a living roots rock reggae dancehall legend, Barrington Levi. Yes, we're there.
Jaja is watching you.
Special greetings and lockdown. Urban management, we say special greetings go to all the family and the item. We say maximum respect and we give thanks for the sentiments every time. Urban delight. Big up management every time, big up management, big it up, big it up. I want to catch up with the item quite shortly now because love the vibration, love the energy we are feeling, love the spirit. 9:30, watch out feed. Watch out, we're looking for link up with Shishko Bob. The management, you know, says all about the urban delight. Big things going on for 2015 and the future. Watch it. www.sfdcradio.com. Yes, over there. My name is Sir Kush Genesis. Welcome to the show. This part of the program, tribute to the living roots of dancehall legend, Barrington Levy. Wait name. Track before that we titled I just saw this track Cali Weed.
On my way. I didn't take boots, we have the Cali. Here comes some Babylon, the double falling.
Later on we also catch up with Mr. Lawrence Palmer.
Shout out Cali.
It's all about tribute to the living what? Elders. Acknowledging and showing some respect. Accomplishments, acknowledgements, achievements. Yeah, man, I tell you originally every time you don't know, it says all about a special tribute every time. Yes, to the living, you know, dancehall legends and, you know, run things from man and the ramp with it because many people don't understand so the way dancehall stay nowadays and there's many things that's going on that is derogative. We don't know, and that we don't endorse. So we try to set the record straight when it comes to that. So, you know, a lot of things we're going to have to deal with that. We're using the artists them from long time who set the foundation, the groundation for dancehall. Many people don't go to dancehall because they say they're in a dancehall, but originally dancehall was a thing where we all used to love and dancehall can still nice again. Yes, so sometimes we have to go back to the roots. Yes, and sometimes we realize that foundation there's guidance there, moral guidance and spiritual parameters, everything is there for sure. We say, oh, we can take the music back in our control, yes, and put some dignity and integrity and morality back in our business, back in our dancehall, and back in our liberty, back in our culture. Barrington Levy, step in.
You better what you say. What you say. You better what you say. You mustn't fuss no fight. You know we should all unite. Ball and you mustn't fuss no fight. You know we should all unite. Young girls, we mustn't fuss no fight. You know we are Israelite. Natty dread nobody mash up the dance. Ball and nobody mash up the dance. Young girls, we mustn't fuss no fight. You know we are Israelite. You better what you say. What you say. What you said you'd make. No white man, no fuss, no fight. No Syria, no fuss, no fight. No Chinese, no fuss, no fight. Only we black men fighting. Sweet reggae music with the people them want. Sweet reggae music with the people them want. Sweet reggae music with the people them love. Sweet reggae music where we were. Sweet reggae music. Sweet reggae music. Natty dread must fuss no fight. You know we should all unite. Natty dread must fuss no fight.
Track title Sweet Reggae Music.
We are Israelite. Ball and you must fuss no fight.
Some of my favorite track amongst many things going on. I show us a big thing that sweet reggae music vibration. Every time, remember the track before that was titled Cali Weed. Yes, and I'm gonna tell you these are some of the tracks in which, as a matter of fact, is big hits. You know, and some of these are singles which you find backed by Roots Radix. Like, you know, Yahweh there is a big hit. So I say you have tracks like Looking My Love, because all the tracks are now we play, but we're going blending some of my favorite tracks, but we don't know. It says a whole heap of big hits. Barrington Levy have, yes, Looking My Love, Englishman, Skylarking, yes, Wedding Ring Aside, Cali Weeder, we just dropped Cali Weeder before the big track again, number one, enough big hits, enough tunes, tracks that help to establish Barrington and him career. You saw me I say, Shine Eye Girl, what we I say, Wicked Intention, Jumping Girl, disco music, reggae music, as we just touch on. Wholly more up on top of the plenty, but you know, I draw out some of my favorite selections them as a youth to grow up. You saw me I say, with Barrington from them time to know and don't know, I say yes, reggae, you know. Dancehall used to sweet, you know, with them time when, you know, and dancehall can sweet again with consciousness. Barrington Levy running.
I'm gonna stay from Babylon, Jaja know. I'm going to a place where I can reap happiness. Wanna mix up with them no more. I want to come out of Babylon captivity. If you sow good seed, you will reap it. If you sow bad seed, you will never go to Zion. Zion, we want to go. If you break through, they're gonna lash you with the rod of fire.
SFDC Radio.com. A much of the world. It's a slice for your slice representing for SILVERFOX DANCECLUB.com. SFDC Radio. Watch it now. Say here what? Light it up, blaze it, promote it. Easy. You know we are live on a special and Dukes Ranks. So say, oh you mean SFDC Radio UK locking down the vibes.
Happy day.
Sweetheart, I wish you were mine because I love you more and more every day I see you, sweetie.
SFDC Radio.com, a mash up the world.
Touch of Class Hair Salon, specialist in Afro, European and Asian hairstyle. We do perms, colouring, relax weaves, flats, hot combs, pressing, weddings and special occasions. We also specialise in nail extensions, eyelash extensions, manicure, pedicure and eyebrow. So come and experience a touch of class. 6A Dunstable Road in Luton, LU1 1DX. Call us on 01582 27043 or 0794 984 1212. A touch of class.
Hey SilverFox, what's happening? I heard you got a problem with your car.
I've got engine problem, gearbox problem, clutch not working, MOT need checking, my tires need balancing, my exhaust making noise, all type of mechanical problem.
So what you gonna do?
A&K Motors.
A&K who?
A&K Motors, Unit 5 Newtown Road, Luton, LU1 3EA, 01582 733 699 or 0777 97943332. A&K Motors, Unit 5, Newton Road, Luton, LU1 3EA.
There's a new unisex hair salon in town. Fades, offering a range of services to suit your needs, like cut and dry, wet shave, afro, weaves, braids, waves, and more. All hairstylists at Fades offer years of experience and provide all the latest styles and trends with the finest techniques. So visit Fades today at 44 New Bedford Road in Luton, LU1 1SQ. Fades also offer a 10% student discount with an NUS card. Why not book an appointment now on 01582 724 116 or 07946 056 118. Fates are open from 9:30 a.m. till late, 7 days a week. For more information, visit our website at fades.co.uk. That's FADZZ.co.uk. Fades, your number one hairstylist.
SFDC Radio.com, a mash up the world.
I'm here to brighten. That one you're going to strike them like lightning. Yo, move off the big up the West Indies where the sunshine with the cool breeze. You see the coconut woman with trees, and them thing they make we sing songs like this.
So we proud of where we come from, inna the Caribbean. Be a sexy girl, inna the Caribbean. The body say come on them, inna the Caribbean. Inna the Caribbean, them inna the Caribbean. The boy can't make we run from the Caribbean. We set a lot of trends inna the Caribbean. The ATI a lot down the Caribbean. Inna the Caribbean, inna the Caribbean.
Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, Cayman. You don't know, say no, now we know like stray man. So pass me the fire and pass the spray can. Police can't lock me up, me no here can. Me have a hot sexy girl with a patient. She bring me every day, say she want the long time. She request the Indian from Westmoreland. You know me have to have a girl in every island.
So where we come from, inna the Caribbean. Be a sexy girl, inna the Caribbean. The body say come on them, inna the Caribbean. Inna the Caribbean, them inna the Caribbean. The boy can't make me run from the Caribbean. We set a lot of trends inna the Caribbean. The ATI a lot down the Caribbean. Inna the Caribbean, inna the Caribbean. Me love my bird, fruits and fish and me ackee. Me drink again is the 4 million jockey. We roll clean every day like Poppy. A music and we culture that keep it happy from. Stay with this, come go chum we a knocky hand. From me love yada.
Shishko Bob, that's his name.
We not like chat.
One link up with him quite shortly, you know. Here you know.
Where we come from, inna the Caribbean. Be a sex.
Track title Caribbean.
And the body say come on them, inna the Caribbean. Inna the Caribbean.
It's all about the urban delight.
And the boy can't make me run from the Caribbean. We set a lot of trends inna the Caribbean. The ATI a lot down the Caribbean.
The platform there to highlight the artists them, highlight the talent that's coming up, rising up.
We every island we touch by the Caribbean sea.
From Cuba, straight back.
We want to know what tomorrow's people and what the youth of tomorrow want to know what they're on their mind, what them talk, but we want to know what are your sentiments, what are your feelings. Yes, make we hear about the subject from freedom of speech.
Pants below waist and face a bleach. Them the thing my teacher don't teach. You know see your father God lost them bridge. Me no care which part my song want reach. Me express myself freedom of speech. Me no RDN but me want preach. A gal alone fi muggle in a tank and beach. Some boy make last. A father got them physique. Some boy a them this time. 2 shot out of the 9. Any boy cross that line. Last them makes me I tell you them boy can't fight. Some boy a them this time. 2 shot out of the 9. Any boy cross that line. Last them makes me I tell you them boy can't fight. She's go back which part you come from. Me tell them say them Westmoreland. But who know me tell them say me born up at East Linton. Because me come to separate the good from the wrong. Tell them say woman no fear for passion. Tell them say man fi marry that woman. That's how we go from creation. Just listen to me son. Some boy a dead this time. 2 shot out of the 9. Any boy cross that line. Last them makes me I tell you them boy can't fight. Some boy a dead this time. 2 shot out of the 9. Any boy cross that line. Last them.
Yeah man, at the Martino Speckers, when I tell about it, and we representing for Sir Kush Genesis, you know the biz. Real general and musical wisdom, and I tell about it, the Nubian Beat Show. Just to ride flow on SFDC Radio.com. Then I tell about it, man. Sticky ding dong ding dong ding. At the Martino Speckers, remember from what to the bunch, man.
Holy Emmanuel like King Selassie I the first. Not the second, not the third. You don't know. You know my one Babylon, my bun them earth. We bun the fool, we bun the nerd. Heal the fruits, heal the birds. Yeah, hear me. Yeah, hear me. I hope you heard. My guns about bam. More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But through me skin color black, them say they do a lock. No money can't stock, no food in my pot. Get all youth hear the plot on every hands, every block. Here still I say non-stop, Babylon not like that. Them not like it when we talk, when we chat. Free out of them chains, free out of them padlock. Babylon you can't hold we down no more. Because you know say the ghetto youths gone to the top. More light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But I through them can't hear me. Every day them setting up to feel me. Try to kill me, now them want to jail me. Chat a bag of things behind my back and then them see me want hit.
I tell them man, raw family.
Babylon me.
Wagwan.
You can't stop. Me scale every obstacle and skip every chop. No matter what.
I want to catch you, we go catch you with Shishko Bob. Quite shortly, but I want to rinse out some of them track, yeah?
More light in my life. Just shine your light in my life.
Look at that.
Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light
in my life. This is no wildfire. This is the real fire. Rasta fire, may I tell you. With Kush Genesis and the Nubian beat. Oh, I Empress Ayola tell you so, you know. You see this a fire when it ready to blaze. May I tell you, say, it clean out all the wicked, them dirty ways. Fire!
Every black heel till I say non-stop. Babylon not like that. Them not like it when we talk, when we chat. Free out of them chains, free out of them padlock. Babylon you can't hold we down no more. Because you know say the ghetto youths gone to the top. More light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my.
My name is Johanna Genesis. Welcome to the show.
Planetary Avengers.
Holy Emmanuel like King Selassie I the first. Not the second, not the third. You don't know. You know my one Babylon, my bun them earth. We bun the fool, we bun the nerd. Heal the fruits, heal the birds. Yeah, hear me. Yeah, hear me. I hope you heard. My guns More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But you me skin color black, them say they do a lock. No money can't stock, no food in my pot. Get all youth hear the plot pan every hands, every block. Here still I say non-stop, Babylon not like that. Them not like it when we talk, when we chat. Free out of them chains, free out of them padlock. Babylon you can't hold we down no more, because you know say they get to youth gone to the top. More and more light in my life.
SFDC Radio. I'm watching the world.
Obstacles the Pharisees and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life.
SFDC Radio UK locking down the boys.
Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But I show them can't hear me. Every day them setting up to feel me.
SFDC Radio.com. Hey, them know what time is to myself there. In the Caribbean, I feel listen. Outside of the Caribbean, I still I feel listen to the radio station there. SFDC. I saw the things there.
No matter about the rumors where you spread, and no matter where you chat, Babylon me say you can't hold me back. More and more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life.
More life, more light.
Obstacles the Pharisees.
Why am I telling me share them sentiments that we definitely need more light in our life.
Your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life.
Shishko Bob.
Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life.
Raw family.
Through me skin color black. Them say they do a lock. No money can't stock. No food enough.
Production them some fat and
every
tougher we man.
Here still I say non-stop. Babylon not like that. Them not like it. When we talk, when we
13K we say all time. Rush G. We say big it up in the morning says what? One family.
Because you know say they get to youth gone to the top. More and more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the Pharisees, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. More and more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life.
Oh Lord.
Wash away the obstacles, the fire.
That if you locked in, you just tuned in, you wonder what's going on. SFDCRadio.com. One link up with this artist are quite shortly. It's all about Shishko, but me say big things going on right now. It's all about more light in my life. The whole of it in my last days, a Gideon style, whatever the time is. Always looking for more life, light in our life. Yes, more light, because nobody don't want no darkness. And when you don't want no darkness, it means you want more knowledge, more wisdom, more understanding. Because the whole objective is about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so we can emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Because without the relevant knowledge, we go in a darkness. And we need more light in our life. We need more knowledge, relevant education. Because without that, you go walk about in the darkness. When the things that you see, you don't see. The whole world is in darkness, but only a few of eyes to see that. So the light, you see me I say, is the knowledge. Get the knowledge, get the wisdom, never leave her. You see me I say, because we need it in our life, our salvation. Yes, alright, we could come here, right, before we link up with this artist and track them some. Watch out for them tracking, watch out for the future, watch out for what's going on. We're going to find out what is the mission, what is the objective. Yes, Shishko Bob up on a mission. What is that mission?
Oh, please come back. Baby girl, you know I miss you. Baby girl, you know I really miss you. Definitely. Hey, I Shishko Bob represent, you know. Lying in my bed, baby, you're not here. Feelings in my head, nothing can compare. When you're with me, I feel so complete. Now that you're gone, I don't know what to do. Baby, I'm missing you. Now that you have gone, baby, I'm missing you. Come back where you belong. Baby, I'm missing you. I know I did you
from my heart, me never really mean to this. Remember when me tell you, say you want my heartbeat. Now you left the house, baby girl, me say me can't sleep. Me not even touch the road from last week. Me can't believe me now go get to see me sun start creep. Now you're gone, baby girl, it really hurt me. My mind start to play tricks, I tell me you desert me. You are my water, baby girl, me say me thirsty. Me now go make you left me like Betty Lou to Bertie. Anyway you're gone, baby, me a fine. Every day your love does not play upon my mind. Me can't believe say you're really gone. That's why me have to sing back the chorus one more time. Baby, I'm missing you now that you are gone. Baby, I'm missing you. Come back where you belong. Baby, I'm missing you. I know I did you wrong. Please come back to me. Lying in my bed, baby, you're not here. Feelings in my head, nothing can compare. When you're with me, I feel so complete. Now that you're gone, I don't know what to do. Baby, I'm missing you.
We have the Shishko Bob, you're missing her. Shishko Bob, you miss her.
Baby, I'm missing.
Your mama don't know it go when you have a good empress in your life, and sometimes she gone for a look a while, you have to miss her yet. You have to know the value of a woman then, so when we have a good woman in our life. Most miss her when she gone for a look a while. And the whole love gets stronger and stronger every time, not true? Track title Missing You, taking from Shishko Bob. One catch up with him in the next, how much minute, what, 10 minutes or so? Watch it. SFDC Radio, my name is Sir Kush Genesis. Welcome to the show. The lockdown members say 24/7s were there, so run up and down cyber world, do see what's going on. One of the islands here, so. Remember the Monday program, the Nubian Beat, also myself, yours truly, Sir Kush Genesis. Yes, remember, say log on, spread the word. It's all about SFDC. Once I big up to the whole of the family. Yes, all the presenters of mine are doing great things round the clock, itinerary every time. Yes, as we touch upon some of the tracks, yes, it's featuring this artist here. We want to link up 9:30 United Kingdom time. Meanwhile, we just introduce and I give you a touch of some of the versatility and some of the vibration and all the art, because like it's one family. Yeah, original urban delight family and raw family, as we have said, you know, tough things going on. The family is always the foundation, the groundation. You know, there's no other solid foundation to develop something. And so nice when the family come together, and 13K and Shishko Bob, the main artist right now, and Rash G, we say all type, because we don't know, it's not about an individual thing, it's a collective thing. With everything starts with the family, the foundation. Yeah, nice tracks, coming up originally every time. I want to touch upon this track here, track title, you know, it's in this time when we look around the world, we see extra amount of fussing and fighting and going about the place, and Shishko Bob come up with a tune where him say, show love. Make you hear what this track here say.
Love, 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 love. We are spread across the world. Me I tell you, love, 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 love. To every boy, every girl, me I tell you, show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful thing. Me I tell you, show love, more love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within. Show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, me I tell you, show love, more love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within. More of see more in the nation, in the school, in the street, in the congregation. No matter where you're from, you're the domination. Where you eat or where you sleep or your occupation. Show love. No show me no weapon, no negativity, they get to you, them no depend. Bob Marley done chant for repatriation. Pick up Africa, the motherland, we are there to show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, me are there to show love, more love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within, show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, me are there to show love, more love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within. Love me a spread when you see me on the streets, I'm in the studio when me up ice pan and beat. Show love to the world me want reach. Shout it out loud because me not be discreet. No negativity, the youth them not seek. Heading to the top, yeah we heading to the peak. On a mission and we know we not get defeat. 13 make we show them how we do it. We are gonna show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, me a gonna show love, more love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within, show love, more love, yeah.
Big up to the real fans of the Nubian beat with Kush Genesis for the roots, cultural and spiritual upliftment in the world. It's I Selector Hans of Legal Sounds International in Gambia. Good to go, Marcy. Bless.
Show love, show love, 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 love. We are spread across the world. Me I tell you love, 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 love. To every boy, every girl, me I tell you show love, more love, yeah. It's such a beautiful
show love.
Yeah, tell you show love.
Shish kebab.
More love, yeah. It's just a natural feeling within, show love.
Locked into the A1 station, www.sfdcradio.com. We're coming at you live. Luton Town, Bedfordshire, United Kingdom. We're beaming out to the world. Special greetings going out to the smiling West Coast of Mama Africa, the Gambia. We say World Tide, the family. Ragged Road, over the Lamin Village. World Tide, Parbo Jam. World Tide, Sakabai. We are saying Rock Silver. Kimakabu Star, the Master Demla. Guinea Bissau. The nice, the nice, the Billy Master Gun, the Goose, the Gas, get them away, get them away. I see up your land, the whole of the Rasta community. What we say? World Tide. All about the tribute, all about showing more love. One link up with this artist, Shishko Bobby, showing more love, big things going on. Yeah, we say big up going out to the Raw family, 13K Rush. You one link up with the item. Yes, in about 5 minutes or so. Yes, remember say, yes, later on we'll link up with also our special tribute as we don't know, tribute to the living elders. Them, you don't know, I say this time we couldn't cover the fullness first time, and so we are come around second time again, and you don't know, so we are take with time. Each time, because there was the vibration on the Wednesday show that the platform is where we also pay tribute to what we call the living legends. You see me I say, and you know, we take a look at the life and the accomplishments and the achievements of elders in the community today. You see me I say, and on the program today we continue with the founder, the manager of Gemini Sound, youth worker, head of the youth services, businessman, entrepreneur, Maya Earshop, Mr. Lawrence Palmer. Yeah, living elders who's still there and are going with things, a vast amount of knowledge, wisdom, knowledge and understanding. And it's interesting. The other day me say more shooting and more killing are going on Luton Town and things are going on. I don't know what's going on. You see me I say, and the elders them did it with a bag full of knowledge and nobody now use them. So it's a strategy of a face because coming like me and man, you know, elders like this, me and them man, you talk about things already that is not rocket science to predict. It's not, no rocket science to look at the state of affairs, to look at every action, create a reaction. If you see certain cutbacks, for instance, are going in a local government and central government, you don't know, say, cutbacks going to have some X amount of implications. You see me I say, when you see the youth club, them, youth and a club again, and a focal point, if youth have an issue now, where do they go? Where is the focal point for them to go try and address that issue? Nowadays, miss everybody call up at a Lawrence Palmer shop. Yeah, so we say World Tide every time we want to catch up with that living later on, yes, and catch up and find out really what's going on as well as looking at his achievements and accomplishments. Right now, this part of the program where we link up with Shishko Bob, artists, yes, live on the airwaves, and with a touch up, X amount of track. And as just before I bring him, I want to touch briefly upon this last track I never touched. Yes, because this is one of the tracks them which, I do big things theme now and getting a good response. So I could just take a few minutes from this track here and come in live with the artist and have the few minutes, just World Tide every time.
Them say he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the
Shishko Bob, we have him live on the line. We're linking up right after this track.
Good deeds and good things shall follow always to the Almighty Mahala. Father, me love you. And you alone, me still, me no put nothing above you. Every day with me like me say me trust you. Come away this morning, me not fi ask most you. Father, me love you. And you alone, me say me no put nothing above you. Every day with me like me say me trust you. Come away this morning, me not fi ask most you. Pagan want me fall. Me have a gift to spot them from a little and small. Them want to run when them want me to crawl. Them they like to see me woman shopping at the mall. Worse when me tune lock down the dance hall. Them we sell you up like Peter and Paul. Them want your life salt up like salt. Them they like to see you have the shop now you stall. Them they like to see get for you to elevate themselves. Speak up the knowledge, educate themselves. Them want it all and celebrate themselves. Them bad mind, grudgeful, them hate themselves. Deep down me know them no rate themselves. From job me see them all a separate themselves. Good over evil, I hear me people no sell your soul to go hear no words. Father, me love you. How you alone, me say me no good nothing about you. Every day with me like me say me trust you. How me wake this morning, me not be asked you. Father, me love you. How you alone, me say me no good nothing about you. Every day with me like me say me trust you. How me wake this morning, me not be asked you.
Give thanks and praise every time. Ask yourself if you did have to do the crime. What that for? The Teflon carbine get a use, don't bring no evil in your mind. Cause righteousness is so divine. Read the lyrics and the rhyme. Judge a call bus and show him a sign. Send more love, that's how life should be defined. Cause I dog give the power every minute, every hour. And more time, you watch through the darkest hour. Them try but them can't fall like the Twin Tower. Them can't mix me up like butter and flour. To them life is sweet but my life is sour. Never try to win like Moses and Noah. We send out the love to the dogs, their blessings from above. That can say things and rain showers. Father, me love you.
Father, me love you. I will have him on the line to testify to that each and every time I want to bring him in because I know him have a busy schedule. Yes, the artists, them and the youth, them up today. Tomorrow's people, them busy like me know what. So we give thanks and can't even take time right now. Because we're now going to go through a full comprehensive interview for the ones where we can catch up with the Virgin briefly as him, as we link him up on the line, taking time out of busy schedule. Want to say welcome to the program. Want to say welcome to www.sfdcradio.com. Sir Kush Genesis. Do we have on the line Shishko Bob? Welcome to the vibe.
Yes, man. Greetings, Sir Kush. Greetings.
Honorable greetings, my brethren. Honor and a pleasure. We give thanks because we know we just get the tune and everything. We like, we always welcome the for the sending tune conscious music because things are so hard in life, and the more positive energy we have out there, so the more, we know, say balance the universe and the whole ecology. So music play a crucial part. So it's nice for you, the youth, them and the man, them still are going and a compose and especially the dancehall vibration because the whole of it still need the dancehall is a nice thing, so it's nice for you the dancehall track them a bunks and a sound fat and bunksy and yet a bubble with some consciousness and some niceness and some entertainment same time. So me I say King, so yeah man, it's nice for you. So firstly, Shishko Bob, because I know you have a short time, but in a nutshell, for the benefit of our listeners, because people locking all over the world. Yeah, so in a nutshell, who is Shishko Bob?
Alright, yeah man, blessings and greetings to Sir Kush and our listeners all over, you know what I mean? Shishko Bob basically is just a man, just like everybody else, but we're musically inclined and we're pushing the music, representing the team Urban Delight Entertainment's Raw family, the same speed, come from a community in Jamaica called Bluefields in the parish of Westmoreland. And yeah, we're in London right now and we are the music and you know what I mean, the vibe is nice. Give thanks. And what is the objective right now? Because we touch upon 6 tracks so far, Brother Shishko. Do you write, who writes the track, all the composition them come about? Tell me about the composition thoughts, who write what and all the rhythm track them come about? Alright, yeah man, well we write all of our own material, so basically if you hear Shishko Bob on a track, Shishko Bob is the composer of the lyrics. In terms of the music, I work with various producers, but right now mainly my in-house producer is a guy called RBD Cruz. Yeah, he work. He's not really predominantly a reggae or dancehall producer. He has worked with many bigger names like Sway, people like Tigger the Arthur, Estelle. So he basically me and him came together and said, let's try this reggae dancehall thing, and as far as you can hear, it's working, you know what I mean? Yes, man. Because even when you're trying this reggae dancehall thing, as you said, Shishko Bob, what is the objective? What is your mission? Well, my mission, to be honest, is just to get good music out there and entertain the people at the same time, because a lot of times, sometimes the good music is not very, very entertaining. So I want to put in the entertainment value into that good music, the righteousness and, the culture and stuff like that. Yeah, but I tell you, because I feel a bridge because the first time I'm hearing the track them again. And again, because, even when many people are on the mission, again, for you, Shishko Bob,
you know, when people dip on a mission, them still have things that them dream about in life. What is it that you would like to achieve on this mission? Because, you know, many people have many things they want to achieve. You personally, what is it you want to achieve? What is the legacy you want to leave?
The legacy I would like to leave is basically when people think of Shish Kebab and Raw Family, they think of positive and good things. They think of, yeah, we would like to hear these guys. We want to be around these guys. I don't want to leave a legacy where if people hear or a name or stuff like that, they'll be like, nah man, them guys, they can stay over there. So we want to be right there, up in everybody's face, and with, you know, as I said, with good music, positive vibration as always.
So how was the live performances? Have you been doing a lot of live shows, Shish Kebab?
Well, I've done a lot. I've done a lot of shows in the past. Coming up, I have a couple shows booked. I believe we have one on the 27th of December in Luton.
We are set to me. Okay, well, we never know about that.
Yeah, man. I can't remember the actual location, but
okay.
that is the nearest one coming up right now.
All right, King, man. All right, that's nice. All right. So even the tracks, because the tracks are my bunks, because they kick off with the Caribbean track. Tell me about that composition and when was that one composed and what was the thought process going on there so within that production?
Yeah, man, definitely. Well, give thanks to 13K basically for the vibes on the Caribbean track, because 13K is my brother in music. He's the one featured in that track.
Yes.
Well, not featured. I'm featured on the track. It's his track.
Okay.
He's featured on the Father, I love the track. But the vibes with Caribbean was like, he was, you know, one day was like, you know what, we really miss the Caribbean, you know, and we really love where we come from, and we were just sitting down holding our vibes and just thinking about every nice thing that was down there in the Caribbean, and we just put pen to paper and, you know, so to speak, and that was it. It's history.
When was that track composed, Shish Kebab?
That track was probably composed about 2 years ago.
Okay, all right. So we're looking at some quite recent tracks then. And what can you tell us about freedom of speech?
Freedom of speech, yeah. Basically, you know, this was another track that I probably recorded like maybe 2 years ago again. Seeing all of the stuff that was going on in the dance hall with the bleaching and, you know, the wrong kind of wearing of clothes and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, I need to speak about this, because growing up listening to dancehall music and reggae music, a lot of these things that these nowadays artists are doing was really taboo, or it wasn't accepted.
Yes.
And I really stand for that from back in the day till now, you know what I mean? I don't like a lot of these things that's going on. So I said, you know, let me just put pen to paper again, so to speak, and we came up with that one again, you know what I mean?
Thunderbolt. And tell me about Light, briefly.
Yeah, man, just shine the light in my life. Again, it was just a vibes where I was actually at my house when I made this song. I was with my partner and my son, and, you know, me as a youth, me hold my little vibes, as your name suggests, you know, Kush.
Yes.
You know, me hold my vibes, you know what I mean? So, me I hold my vibes, and I just sit down and I say, John Star, you know, enough things are going, not really going the right way or how would I like it to go. So I just sit down and I say, just shine the light in my life. You know what I mean? And why, again, the rest was history.
Yeah, man, a lovely vibration. All right, tell me about Missing You. That one, they take another vibration which kind of show some versatility and it show another part of the man. So tell me about that emotion there. So what go on there, so?
Why, you know, that one kind of, the song suggests it's all, but, you know, it's just one of them things that, again, you know, everybody, I think, has faced at least this situation once in their life, whether it's a male or a female. You know, there is somebody that you really love that is no longer in your life. And, you know, you just, sometimes you think about it, and, you know, it was just like I was missing her. So,
yeah,
you know, I said,
reminiscing, yes, Jade. Yeah, man, it is good, man, it is good. Memory lane, sometimes it's good for going on and not get stuck on there too long, though.
Nah, man.
Better, because Show love, the king man. What's in the mind? What's the meditation there, sir, when you did write that one? What was going on?
Show love now. That if you're looking at the world and see what's going on now. Looking at America, police are killing off the people them. You know what I mean? If you look in the South Asian and back in them side there, you have all these jihadist people and these people just killing random people for no apparent reason. You know what I mean? Some of them, you know, they come up with all kind of excuses that they do it for this and they do it for that. But in a man's mind, what could possess a man to really like go and take a man's life with no reason at all? Even if there is a reason, you know what I mean? There is no justification to take a life because human can't give life. So you basically don't take what you can't give.
I see something, yes. We get what message come to Shishka Bob. How did you find Urban Delight?
How did I find Urban Delight? Wow. Urban Delight, basically I was at a show performing and the CEO of Urban Delight, that is Mackie McPherson.
Mackie McPherson, alright, big up Mackie McPherson, management, one love every time, yes king.
Yeah man, big up Mackie McPherson, man. Yeah, so basically we at the show and, you know, we do vibes and Mackie step over and say, youth, here we go. I have to push your career and the rest was history. You know what I mean? We're you're a radio station right now, so you know what I mean?
Yes. May I tell you now, because we're going to give time because we know so we can't, we're not going to hold you back too long off your show, but I want you at this moment in time to send some greetings to some loved ones and some fans out there.
Yeah man, alright. Respect, you know what I mean? What I say, first of all, give big respect to yourself, Sir Kush, for having me on the radio, you know what I mean? Big up the radio station, big up the listeners. Big up Father God, you know what I mean? Without him, nothing is possible. Big up the promotion team, management team, Urban Delight, Mackie McPherson, you have Shelly all the way up there in Sheffield. Big up 13K, I'm a brother, them to know. You know what I mean? Big up Ras G, big up Raw Family, big up my producer RBD Cruz. Yeah.
Nice,
you know what I
nice,
mean? Just big up everybody, you know what I mean?
Yes, King.
I can't really call everybody name, but big up everybody.
Yeah, man. So, and again, now, if people want to just if people want to follow you, you have Facebook and Twitter, any contact vibration you want to give out at this moment?
All right, yeah, man, definitely. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you want to go at Modesting. That's MADDESTTING, Modesting, as in the Modesting. If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Shishko Bob. So that's SHISHCOBOB, Shishko Bob. That will, if you Google Shishko Bob on the social media networks, you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. Just Shishko Bob, and you'll get all the links. And if you really want to get in contact with me, you can just really basically go to Urban Delight Entertainment and then they'll take care of the rest.
All right, all right. Stick up in right there, so I bet you this one coming with a question. You're coming with something, King?
Yeah, man.
No, all right, no, it's already clarified. You cool? Are you going to ask my question? Yeah, all right. No, you already clarified within the region. Yeah, all right. You see, right, because we know, say, we never plan for a long time, but we give thanks for this time. But we look forward to we can do at least a good 1 hour interview because we have a whole lot of things we want to talk about with Shishko Bob, current events and everything, man. And the way of life and philosophy and religion and everything else. You see me, I say, King, and the music and the youths of today and the sisters of today. You see me, I say, King. So we really want to say at this moment in time, we want to give thanks and praises for for taking time because we know your schedule busy. We're going to go and rinse out the track them and go and rinse out the track them and go and rinse out the track them. You see me, I say, throughout the whole of the day. You see me, I say, because the station dip on 24/7 car to all the station, all the shows them. You know what I mean, going in them and go and go push the tracks them until we can, like I said, go on the next full interview again. You see me, I say, so we just want to give thanks again and say big up to all of the family. You see me, I say, Mackie McPherson and the whole of the Raw family, 13K. You see me, I say, Raji and the whole of the items, say, keep up the good work, go on track diligently. You see me, I say, no righteousness. And we're there at the platform there. The doors are always open to the item. You see me, I say, and we pray the item all the best in the item endeavors. Every time, yes. One
Yeah,
second,
man.
stick up in right there. So my brethren are coming, stick up in.
Yes, shish kebab.
Bless.
Yeah, this is SilverFox and Mackie Mac first now, my good friend from long time seeing. So you know now, say every day your tracks them are gonna get rinsed right here on SFDCRadio.com, and the whole of Africa always locked on. So believe you me, Mackie will tell you.
Man.
From me said that,
Yeah,
I saw it go. Every day your tracks them have to get rinsed, yeah? So bless
man.
up.
Respect for that, man. Respect for that. And big up the whole of Africa right now, said speed, you know what I mean? Motherland.
Yes. Because even as we touched this, have you touched upon the motherland yet, as we touched upon that Cisco Bob briefly?
Yeah.
Have you...
All right, you know what happened now? You know, if when we sit down for the hour, we are gonna get really deep.
Right.
Because I'm going to say one thing right now.
Man, tell you.
I'm going to say one thing right now.
Yes.
I am actually African because my mother is from Somalia. So
what?
And my father Jamaican. So that is a real mix. You know what I mean?
A combination, Dad. Yes. All right, we are looking forward to that 1 hour session with them. Watch out, showers are blessed, ancestral guidance, stay strong. Love to the management and the family, and we look forward to talk to them. Yeah, just stay strong and all the best with your career and your endeavors. Yes, fireman.
All right, more love.
Holy Emmanuel like King Selassie I the first. Not the second, not the third. You don't know. You know my born Babylon, my born them earth. We born the fool, we born the nerd. Heal the fruits, heal the birds. Yeah, hear me. Yeah, hear me. I hope you heard. Because about more want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the fiber seas, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But you me skin color black, them say they do a lock. No money can't stock, no food in my pot. Get all youth hear the plot on every hands, every block. Here still I say non-stop, Babylon not like that. Them not like it, when we talk, when we chat. Free out of them chains, free out of them padlock. Babylon you can't hold we down no more, because you know say the ghetto youths gone to the top. More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the poverties, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But I through them can't hear me. Every day them setting up to feel me. Try to kill me, now them want to jail me. Chat a bag of things behind my back, and then them say me want heal me. Tell them say me burn the fire daily. Babylon member, and me you can't stop. Me scale every obstacle and skip every chop. No matter about the rumors where you spread, and no matter where you chat. Babylon me say you can't hold me back. More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the poverties, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. But you me skin color black, them say they do a lock. No money can't stock, no food in my pot. Get all youth hear the plot on every hand, every block. Here still I say non-stop, Babylon not like that. Them not like it, when we talk, when we chat. Free out of them chains, free out of them padlock. Babylon you can't hold we down no more, because you know say the ghetto youths gone to the top. More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the poverties, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life. More want more light in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Wash away the obstacles, the poverties, and the parasites in my life. Just shine your light in my life. Make your blessings highlight in my life. Every day me say a prayer, chant a psalm, cause me want things right in my life.
Shishko Bob. Niceness, my brethren.
Please come back.
Go and try good. Go and do the good works.
I miss you, baby girl. You know I really miss you. Definitely. Hey, I Shishko Bob represent, you know. Lying in my bed, baby, you're not in.
Next 10 minutes or so, welcome with tribute to a living elder.
Nothing can come.
Mr. Lawrence Palmer, all time.
When you're with me, I feel so complete. Now that you're gone, I don't know what to do. Baby, I'm missing you. Now that you have gone, baby, I'm missing you.
Next 10 minutes, make a touch on some of the feminine selection and keep a balance with the whole vibration. Next 10 minutes, tribute to a living elder. Right in the studio, yes, so Luton Town, World Tide each and every time. Members say 24/7s with their run up on no cyber world, do see what's going on. Members say unite with the station, don't fight it.
I Rastafari draw me wow. Yes, you never know me now. And love is the way. Nobody try come test me. Cause I a Rastafari pick me. You want this me? I move real slippery, but I see your dirty ways. You think I did a sleep? Think I did a guess? See your dirty ways. It's impressed men and King Selassie I praise always. So if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you wouldn't know. Yes, if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you would have known that love is the way. God, my wagonist, real antagonist. And it's your empress, you can't come this. And my wagonist, real antagonist. Yes, I know that you're up to your tricks. Still, love is all I have to give. Each day I live to know the joy of life. That's a privilege. So if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you would have known that love is the way. Yes, if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you would have known that love is the way. Never know me, yes, 'cause love is the way. A Rastafari grown me, whoa, so you better stay, yeah. Down to the bed from the cradle you are used. To execute your plans, execute your abuse. There's no excuse. I give you precious love, still hate you other choose, but Rastafari to the rescue. Clothing I am red, gold and green vesture. Love overflowing, what a pleasure. No boundaries, no measure. So if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you would have known that love is the way. Yes, if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me, then you would have known that love is the way. Yes, if you didn't know me, a Rastafari grown me.
Yeah, this one is dedicated to all the African women, proud and strong. Stand firm, not change who you are. How we celebration straight. Proud African empress, miss a shout out, yes, shout out. We're my Gambian queens. Miss a put up on no hand, put up on no. Proud African empress, miss a shout out, yes, shout out. We're my Gambian queens. Miss a put up on no hand, put up on no. Yeah, when them ask you where you come from, say, hey, I'm African woman. When them ask you, shout out loud, hey, I'm African woman. say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no proud African embrace. Me say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no hands up, you African queen. Hey, 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 I'm African woman. Go to school, big and bold. Yeah, hey, 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 I'm African woman. Yeah, you got your skin brown and clean. Yeah, you African woman. Yes, you're black, you are the black queen. Yeah, you African woman. Proud African empress. Me say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no proud African embrace. Me say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no. South Africa, let me hear you. North Africa, let me hear you. East Africa, let me hear you. West Africa, let me hear you. Yeah, when them ask you where you come from, say, hey, I'm African woman. When them ask you, shout out loud. Hey, I'm African woman. Proud African empress. Me say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no proud African empress. Me say shout out, yes, shout out. We my Gambian queens. Me say put up on no hand, put up on no.
I the woman them mouthpiece again. I'ma come for talk the things them straight. You have some man them unfair, you see. Them have one set of rule for themselves and one set of rule for them woman. Appear double standard. And Adira can't condone that. And a lie. Tit for tat. I bet you wouldn't like that. Some man like dish food and can't eat that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't stand that. Tit for tat. I bet you can't deal with that. Nobody play no games, cause you not like that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't eat that. You just come out your yard after 3:30. If me do the same thing, you start accuse me. Every time the phone ring, you hide and take for your call. And if me ever try that phone, mash on the wall, woman I look you. You say me and you a friend, why the hell you complain? When me say me single, then when you the home, your phone it have on pin lock. And if me phone ever lock, me know a big war that hit for tat. I bet you wouldn't like that. Some man like dish food and can't eat that. Hit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't stand that. Hit for tat. I bet you can't deal with that. Nobody play no games, cause you not like that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't eat that. They out to eat, you hide it at the next table. And if me talk to a man, you get irritable. The other day me call the phone and it no stop ring. And you start feel up when me do the same thing. Every weekend you chill with your friends at the bar, but you have a problem when me and my girl them apart. If a woman call the phone, you say you and them a friend. But if a man call me phone, I must me man them. Tit for tat. I bet you wouldn't like that. Some man like dish food and can't eat that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't stand that. Tit for tat. I bet you can't deal with that. Nobody play no games, cause you not like that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't eat that. Me not ask them want for the way a man a do, because I'm a lady and me respect myself. But a man have to dress back and think twice and appreciate the woman in I'm life. Because what you don't like for yourself, don't do it to others. And a lie, you know why? Listen now. Come make we reason. I know what I run through my vein and blood through for you. If you disrespect what you think me fi do, tell me how you woulda feel if I me a diss you. Man appreciate your woman, better start empathize. Take care of your treasure, man, you better recognize. Yeah, your woman should have a mutual understanding. If you no want, she fi mirror you and do the same thing. Tit for tat. I bet you wouldn't like that. Some man like dish food and can't eat that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't stand that. Tit for tat. I bet you can't deal with that. Nobody play no games, cause you not like that. Tit for tat. I bet you couldn't swallow that. If me feed the same food, say you couldn't eat that. You just come out your yard after 3:30. If me do the same thing, you start accuse me. Every time the phone ring, you hide and take for your call. And if me ever try that phone, mash on the wall, woman, I look you. You say me and you a friend, why the hell you come?
Nadira Jackson,
single them,
taking off her album.
Your phone it a vamping.
Title Nadira Jackson.
Fuck me know a big war that tit for tat.
Title tit for tat, having a big response. Yes, in her career every time. Yes, I want to just squeeze in one more off of the Nadira Jackson and then come in with my guest in the studio. Yes, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, originally every time.
Me I tell you now, you have some money, give them your heart and soul. And the honor you back them out of control. I sleep with enough y'all out the road. I no lie, you cook, clean, love and nurture them. And what them do, turn one and break your heart, my friend. And I saw it going on, tell them Nadira says so. Yesterday me get a call from a friend Manda. She tell me say she see me man round the corner with a new brown thing where every man after. The way them a move them act like lovers, and the eat where a spark spread like wildfire. By the time if it talk, she say wait Nadira, him have him hand on her back and him pull her closer. Me say Manda, me gone, do we call you later. When me hang up the phone, I beer eye water. Premeditated state won't commit murder, cause the man when me love turn big gambler. Him a gamble with me love for your next partner. While me tears them a run like pipe water. Me decide say me a go confront the cheater. So me give him a call, tell him come over. When the idiot check me, this him start to utter.
And I'm torn.
I feel your business.
Yes, I'm torn.
You not get nothing yet.
Business is forcing me
you think
to choose.
Mind him up, boy, just excuse.
Yes, I'm torn. Deep inside I'm on.
So you not start ball
None
yet.
of these ladies
no, this
I don't want to lose.
But you want come true. Say the loving when me get him man can't compare that. I'm a loving priceless, you can't buy with cash. 9 years of my life, me have one partner. So me love him so bad, me no look no further. No temptations from your rich friend Bob. Him a pre me long time and I make me offer. Promise the world cause him want to make me larger. And him tell me long time say you a big cheater. Never trust him story, think him a informer. Plus I true him want me body, him a give me brata. Remember many times fan your face you fall flat. No money rolling but me take care of that. Love sacrifices me can't turn back clock. Buy a car and clothes, good loving non-stop. You feel love where you have man, respect that. Where you expect now when me hear that.
And I'm torn.
Me not care what you say.
Yes, I'm torn.
I feel your bad love.
Guiltiness is forcing me
think
to
I
choose.
mind him up, boy, just excuse.
Yes, I'm torn.
You never
Deep
hear about me.
inside I'm on.
Say you not start hurt
None
yet.
of these ladies I don't want
just
to
lose my name, me not go there for your choose. Imagine, after me give this man all of my youthful days, I know you're out the road with different girl I pose with. You're idiot to know. You know how much money cream you say you don't deserve me. Go on out there to your put to them. I saw no frightened with a clothespin girl, them when I have no values. As man squeeze them head, everything fly open. You know what? Things are for a reason, you know. Instead of you elevate me, you drag me down. I gotta show me sign. A long time if I left you, you greedy dog, you just lose your bone. Fool. Me say me want you to look on this a body, yeah. Get your last look now, don't come no closer. Get your shoes and clothes, go stay with whoever. When the night time come, you have a cry water. Just remember, say you can't call me number. If you want to make a choice, me I go make it easier. Go and go look for the brown, yeah, round the corner. Bout your torn, get things in a deer-a-cater.
And I'm torn.
I feel your business,
yes, I'm torn.
You not get nothing yet.
Guiltiness is forcing me
to choose. Mind him up, boy, just excuse.
Yes, I'm torn.
Deep
inside I'm on.
So you not start ball yet.
None of these ladies
no, this your woman,
I don't want to lose.
But you won't come true. Say the loving when me get him man can't.
Nadira Jackson, me I tell you, so you locked it to the A1 station, www.sfdcradio.com. Yes, this moment of time, we'll go up on the journey now, and we catch up with a guest in the studio. Let me see if which I think is that one. I think it's the other one. Yeah, we could just get the right microphone for our guest in the studio. www.sfdcradio.com. Yes, we could just try and balance. Yes, Members at 24/7, yes, and and you got all the presenters them and new presenters them joining SFDC Radio family. Big things going on about the place originally time. So at this moment in time, we want to embark upon the next part of our journey where we link up with our special tribute. Yes, to our, it's all about the living elders them, because about the place too much funeral going on. Sometimes people always seem to wait until things happen. Yes, so this platform's all about where we pay tribute to living elders, and at this moment in time we look at their accomplishments, their achievements today. Look at the situation from that time to now. As things change, have we progressed, have we digressed, what's going on? On today's program we continue with the founder, yes, the manager of the Gemini Sound, youth worker, head of youth services experience man, and also businessman amongst other things. Yes, Lawrence Palmer. I want to say welcome to the show, SFDCRadio.com again, Honorable Elder Lawrence Palmer. Yes, do we have your mic on?
Yes.
Give thanks.
Greetings.
Yes.
And thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Yes. And folks, for those remember, because the first session, man said, nice session, and we rounded off by talking from the Gemini experience, and enough one show Mr. Boy Sir Kush, man, enough laughter, enough memory lane, enough good vibe, So and as you know, the journey continues because Lawrence have a long journey, and the journey still continues today. Now we move from that journey, we move into the area of the youth work, and not just so much moving to the area of the youth work, which was always part of Lawrence's life, no matter where him do, it's a thing you can't get away from that time to now. But what was that defining moment? Yeah.
To tell you the truth, it was to do with the song. And back in the days, you have a little issue with young people. And somebody said to me, why don't you do youth work? I said, me, you must be mad. And they said, well, look at the youngsters, look at around your sound. Them listen to you when you talk and so on. And to be honest, at that time, I was anti-organization and authority. So in the beginning, I said no, and I work for them people there because of the way they was. But eventually, the opportunity, came up, which I didn't have a choice but to take it on, because most people know the Starlight, and I used to go to the Starlight, and Starlight literally had a system, I would call it, where people that got there as a youth end up growing up with it and end up running the place. So that's how it really started. I was persuaded by some people to get involved, to try and help the youth them. And because of the sound at the time, them say, well, look, your values and the way you show them the right from wrong. So that's how it started basically.
So what time are we looking at? Where are we looking at? Where are we? Where are we? What year?
We're now in the 80s, so it was around about 1986.
Right. Okay. Yes. Serious. So what did you do? What happened? The sound it park up, it gets sell off. What happened to the sound?
To be honest, me taking on a job as a youth worker affected the sound big time, because it was like, you could say, as the manager of the sound, I also helped to keep discipline around the sound and so on and so forth. Somebody like a leader where they listen to and whatsoever. And even though there was other people involved in the sound in a management role, them never carry the same authority as I did, or the people on the sound look up to and believed in. So the sound literally stopped, slowly but surely, because one of the reasons was I could do both, but at the time, say as a youth worker, you can't be seen in certain places where, there might be a little smoking of weed and so on and so forth. So I had to step back a bit. It was difficult, but I was told before that to change a system, you cannot just change it from the outside. You have to change it from the inside. And I remember when I had the sound as well, there was a program that they did on Luton called The Promised Land.
Yes.
And it was looking at when black people first come to Luton and so on and so forth. And at that time, Gemini, well, them was running things as far as in the area and whatever. And one of the time there used to be a place called Community for Racial Equality.
Okay, yes, you are.
And yeah, and we had a meeting with some white guys from it, you know. And we were always making noise about we should have and we shouldn't, and racism and so on and so forth. And he actually said to me, he said, Lawrence, if you want to make a difference, he said, go to college, get some qualification, and learn to talk like us. And when he said talk like us, he didn't mean English or whatsoever. He said sit round the table and tell them what you want instead of shouting and demonstrating. He said it don't help. But so I did that as well. There was 5 of us, and we was the first 5 mature students to go to, well, it's called Luton University now, but it was Luton College of Higher Education.
Okay, yeah,
back then.
at the time.
Yeah, and to be honest, every man have a gift in life, and a lot of people know what mine is. I have the gift of the girl. So we attended the college, me, Bob Baker, Derek Spalding, and a few others. And at the time as well, some funny things was happening in Luton, especially as far as the black community is concerned. Because there was issue around black people and doing youth work and whatsoever. And there was some funds got to work with specific group, the Asian community, the African Caribbean community. And at the time, an Asian guy from Scotland got the job to work with the Asian community. We had somebody all the way from Bristol, was called African Caribbean Youth Outreach Youth Worker. This lady happens to be white. And the reason why she got the job, they said, was she said, oh, I worked in St. Paul's with black people. You know, and well, that didn't work. So there was issues with different people, and she couldn't get the job done because nobody knew her, she didn't know the community, so it was difficult. And all and behold, the local authority found some extra money now to say, well, I'm going to employ somebody from the African Caribbean community. And there was an advertisement for the job. And I was quite lucky. People told me to apply for it. That time I'd been doing part-time youth work at Starlight. And also...
What was the position you were applying for?
It was African Caribbean outreach worker. Basically to work with African Caribbean young people. Not in the traditional way in a youth club. My job was to go out and wherever they congregate, meet with them, find out what they're interested in, as opposed to telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing it. So I engaged them in that way. So that's what the job was able to do. And as I said, interview came up. I applied for the job after I'd finished my college studies. And I was lucky enough to get the job. And I had to go to college. So I also spent 3 years at Thames Polytech in Wapping doing a youth and community diploma.
Right.
So it didn't just come just like that.
Just like
so,
that.
Yeah. So I
Discipline.
I spent 5 years, and you know, that opened my eyes to a lot of things. Because when I look back, originally when they did the Promised Land, I was on there saying, if Margaret Thatcher give me my plane fare, I'm gone back to Jamaica because this place is too racist and so on.
Yes.
But when I look back and said, what the hell would I have gone back to Jamaica and do? I did not have the qualifications and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So that made me realize how important it was. And as I said, in them times, black youngsters didn't have the opportunity them have now. You know what I mean? Which is a fact, because when I arrived in this country, I was in London. I went to a grammar school. When I come to Luton, I went to Beach Hill School, which was just an ordinary school, and I left at 15. You know, so I left school with no qualification, even though I had the brains, I feel, to be able to succeed, you know, or do better my life.
Yes, yes.
You know, and that wasn't done till I was 33. And to be honest,
So what age would you say when you went back into education? At what age?
I was 33.
Serious? Yes.
Yeah, I got my first qualification in life.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I do have a lot more now, but back then, you know what I mean. So.
And the thing about it, you had qualifications in life still, you know, even before that. So, but I know what you mean in the sense of the paper, you know what I mean, because you see that them experience upon the street and in the communities, those life experience quality, those life surviving skills.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, that was the reason why I got the job.
Yeah.
Because when I went for the interview, there was 4 people that went for the interview. 3 of them were qualified youth workers. But I think my life experience, the street experience that I had, you know what I mean, actually, and my knowledge of, you know what I mean, some of the issues suffering, young people suffering.
Big qualification, that one. Yes, seriously.
That's how I actually got the job. You know, and from then, yeah, I started, funny enough, I started out, and I think when I got the job, I think the local authority at the time was Bedfordshire County Council, and I think they thought to themselves, well, if we have any issues with black young people, then we can say, well, listen, we employed a worker, and that was their biggest mistake. You know what I mean? Because I got stuck into the job. And I will say, at the time, as far as I recall, I was the first ever black full-time youth worker in the history of Bedfordshire County Council. You know, and if you're looking at that in the 80s, you have to say, that is sad.
Yes.
That is sad. You know, within about 3 years, it was another 7 or 8 full-time black youth workers. And when I say black, I have to include the Asian community, because there was a few Asian communities coming.
Yes.
And also, the part-time youth workers moved from about 15-20% to about 30 to 40%, because it was like I got the job as a full-time worker, even though there was other youth workers before me at Starlight. It was basically club-based. So with me getting in and around the community where different groups hang out, it sort of helped me to progress. You know, and even with the youth club, it's funny, because I suppose, as I said to you, people told me to get involved. When the youth club was being run, right, at the time, it opened up, Silburn was running the youth club. Right?
Yes.
And it's funny because the youth them used to go down there, and boy, used to be some hooligan youths down there. Not doing anything bad, but you know them still.
Well excited.
Yeah,
yes,
excited. And to be honest,
yes.
if there was an issue, it's me, Silburn used to call, Lawrence, come talk to the youth them, and see the youth them now listen. And as I said, because I was a street person, you know what I mean, them couldn't tell me anything. When I say they couldn't tell me anything, because I've been out there, been on the street, and I look at it and say, you know what, when I came here, we had to deal with not just the white community, but the police. And, alright, I've been in trouble, but all the trouble I've been in is normally fighting. But fighting who? The police. Because back then, you walk street after 11 o'clock, policeman are stop you.
That's
and
right.
you know, and we stick up for each other and say, no, we can't keep, you know what I mean,
true, man.
having things like that.
Sosla, them time they
oh,
yes.
Boss, you know, I know we're drifting a little bit, but I've got friends that been to jail, arrested, charged and all that, and they did not do a thing. You were fitted up. You know, when them arrested them, so well, if you admit this, we won't do you for this and so on. And you know, in a strange country, you're young, and the other thing was our parents' beliefs the sun shine out a policeman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Them can't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, man.
It took our parents a long time
It's true.
to realize. And you know, I even remember, I'm drifting a little bit.
No, you're
they
cool.
used to say black people have a chip upon them shoulder, and police wouldn't do those things. And I'm a person that I sit back and I watch things that happen. I don't know how many people remember the 90-odd people that died at Liverpool, and when them had the hearing and them say the police was corrupt and changing the statement, how police could be like that. I sat back and said to a friend, but we've been saying that for 30 odd years, and they said we were talking rubbish. But now, because it affected the white society, that's when it come from. Yeah, there's quite a few things like that I see happen, and I don't think, as a black person, as a black race, a lot of us see that. I remember a few years back, I'll get back to the youth work in a bit, a few years back when London have over 100 murders, black and black murders with young people, I never seen nothing happen. I remember when there was a girl that used to be an EastEnders, her brother got stabbed in a bread shop, I believe, and got killed. Wasn't by a black person. Guess what? The next day, the Prime Minister came out and said something because a white person had died. They even got themselves a youth czar to look at the issues that was affecting it. And all and behold, it was a woman that used to be on EastEnders. Now, tell me the truth, right? At the end of the day, it's something that affects black people, but within this country, it's been that way for a long time. Don't worry, we can take care of them. You know what I mean? Instead of letting us take care of ourselves. So it was, you know, times were difficult, but the youth work, it was very enjoyable.
Because I was gonna say, even with that, you know, when you reminiscing on the youth work, what are some of the, you know, tell us about some of those memorable moments, some of the memorable and some of the serious, because you have those moments which bring a smile upon your face, and you've had some of those moments which very concerning.
Do you know, it's funny, because when them talk about young people, if young people are given the opportunity and they feel valued and what they're doing, they have ownership for it, they would go far. I remember that, at the time, I looked at saying, you know what, you've got Asian groups like the PKY, the BYL and so on, you know, Metali and the Asian Women Youth Group, but the black community didn't have one. And I got together, spoke to some of the youths I was working with and said, listen, why don't form an own group? Told them what was involved, sat down, talked to them about it. They showed interest, and what we did was, same like any group, chair, treasurer, deputy chair, and so on and so forth. And this group, as a black group, actually also made history in Bedfordshire. Because when the group was set up, got their constitution, opened their bank account, they needed a worker to work within the group. So we had to advertise to get a worker to work with the group. And at the time, the chair of the group was a young lady that was going to school at Chorley Girls' School. Well, we did the shortlisting and everything, and we had 4 people to interview. We got in touch with Chorley School and asked if the chair could be excused. So we have 2 young people sitting on the interview panel, along with myself, somebody from personnel. So they actually asked some of the questions to do with working with the young people. And at the end of it, there was 2 workers that they couldn't choose between. And we ended up employing both of them. That has never happened in the history of Bedfordshire. Not black, not white, not pink, nor nothing. So it was actually, I felt that they're going to work with young people, so let the young people be involved. And it was like it was a big thing because even the school, I believe at the assembly and all that, the girls were called to do things. And to be honest, that group went on to do some things that amazed me, myself. I remember, because the group was doing so well, a lot of people don't know there's a national youth agency, and that's the body that sort of set out how youth work should be done and so on and so forth. They're funded by government, and they do a magazine called Young People Now, which comes out once a month, I believe it is, and that tells you what's happening up and down the country. But then they had another one called Shaba, which look at black young people, what they were doing. I received a phone call from them saying they've heard about the group, they'd like to come down and do an interview. Well, when they came down, they come to me and I said blah blah blah, and I said, you know what, it isn't about me. So I just introduced them to the youngsters and I left them to get on with it. And at the time, funds was tight, so we applied to the council for some funds. And as I said, anything I do, if it's for the young people, they got to be involved. And normally when you apply for funds, the council asks you to come and talk, so normally the worker goes along, got his script, know the answer to give them what they wanted. Boss, I take half a dozen youth from the group. And I think even that shocked the councillors, because I said, listen, at the end of the day, it's not what I want.
Takes them come true.
Yeah, I said, it's not what I want, is what the young people want.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they said what they had to say and all that, and I think the councillors were so impressed, they gave them some money to buy camera equipment and all that. And you know, it's so funny because I'm talking about back then, and I have to jump forward because earlier I heard you talk about some killings and so on.
Yes.
And people remember a couple of years ago when Delaney was killed, right? And I went to the funeral, and you know, when I went to the funeral, the pastor that were presiding over the day was one of the youngsters from that said youth group. You know, and I looked at it and I said, look at that. You know, and that stopped, the youth group stopped when I actually got promoted to become head of the youth service. Someone else was put in my place to carry the group on, but I think, you know, this might sound like I'm actually praising myself, but that person did not get on with them the way I did.
Couldn't connect.
And you know, you were saying that some of the things that surprised me. I'm somebody that I could talk all day and night, but those youngsters had me speechless one night. When I got promoted, I had to say my goodbyes because I could pop in and see them, but I couldn't work with them no more. You know, I can just give support. Anyway, I got a call from my daughter's mum saying that there was something happening, she needed to get a lift or whatever. So picked me up now and drive, and then she said, you know what, the youth club's off on tonight, let's just pop in and see what's happened. And I'm not lying, when I went in there, they had a few dignitaries. There might have been about 70 or 80 young people, and I had a table, and they put on a performance from drama to comedy to DJing, and also they cooked because part of the youth group was also teaching them a bit of cooking and so on. And that had me speechless. And you know, it's funny, I look at some of the people that have come through that group, and people would be surprised to know. I remember one, Michelle Bailey. She was interested in dancing, and she was part of the group. And at the time, we spoke about it, And I remember that we had someone from Luton who had won European breakdancing awards. Venno John, his name was. So I contacted some friends from Luton that kept in touch with him. Errol Freighter, as a matter of fact, got in touch with him. She got into one of the top dance classes in London. I turned on my telly a couple of years later. She was dancing on top of the pops. So she had gone on. You also had people know Scissorhand Spencer was part of the youth group. A lot of people might even know Leon, that was tragically killed while being arrested.
Yes, serious. Okay.
His daughter's mom, Michelle, was part of the youth group. So they did, with the youth group, they did what they wanted to do, as long as it wasn't breaking the law.
Yes.
You know, they did photography. And not only just did photography, they learned how to develop. So they put on a show, invited the mayor and all that sort of thing along. So the group was quite progressive. We even had an Asian man from town that used to be an actor. Dev, his name was Dev Sagu, I believe his name was. He used to be on telly. And even we got in touch with him, and he came along, did drama course. So whatsoever they wanted to do, we tried to find someone. And there was a comedian from Luton. He's quite big now. He's got Dallara Church. I think his name was, oh God, I can't recall his name. But even he came along to do some things. A lot of people know Spencer was also a dancer back in the days. And he went on and did things. And I would say that at least 80% of those youngsters that was part of that group have actually gone on to do better things. Some of them, I saw one a couple of years back. He told me he was a youth worker. So I look at all that, and you know, it gives me sort of satisfaction.
Yes, sense of pride. Yes.
You know, to know that I was able to help him. I even remember another story. The same Michelle, right? She came to me and I said, "Listen, you can't come to me all the time and all that. People might start." She said, "My mum told me, whatsoever I do, stick close to you, because, you know, I might be able to open some doors." And basically, that's what I did. The youngsters actually helped themselves. All I was there was to facilitate, point them in the right direction.
Guidance, yes.
When it came to meeting people, I was someone that's saying, how you can have a meeting to talk about young people and without young people being there? So my motto was, I took them to some of the meetings that people had to sit back and say, yeah, because you have all these councils. I'm saying, well, I can't speak on behalf of young people. I don't know what they're going through. I can just bring it. So I always brought young people along. So yeah, that's some of the things that really made me feel good doing youth work. It wasn't easy. After a couple of years doing the youth work, I was still a trainee studying. The previous youth officer left. And even before that, there was a youth officer, and I was working there, and she had a deputy. And it was so strange that when she left, the deputy went for the job. He didn't get it. And you know what that man did? When he didn't get the job, he called me in his office, and he sat me down, and he started telling me things that were there available for black people to be able to access. One of them was the Prince's Trust, which had been going since 1976. We knew nothing about it. I got the first 2 black people in the history of it in Bedfordshire in 1986. So I was somebody that I would find out what was available and make sure they had access to it.
Yes.
You know, and in that time, it didn't make me popular with my peers because I was also quite outspoken. Because I have a belief, if you're gonna harm me physically, there's nobody on earth that I should be frightened of. It's only the Almighty. So in some cases, it was my own downfall. for challenging in a way that I suppose I was outspoken, as some people might say, but I love my colour. And if I can do something to help, to benefit it, and that's why I feel so sad to know what's happening now. You know, it's really, really sad. It
What can you
breaks
tell
my
us?
heart.
What can you tell us? What is happening now when you say that?
Well, you know, it's strange because I suppose it's deep-rooted and there is a lot of reasons, but you have, what they call them, gangs. Different gangs from different area. And as I said in my previous interview, when we're talking about music, I also had a gang. It was called Gemini. These youngsters don't have a purpose. And not only don't have a purpose, they don't have nowhere to go. The two lads, that Delaney and the other one that killed him, they both used to go to the Starlight Youth Club. It's when the clubs close down, they go back to their estate. And the thing is, as black people, we're so divided. I remember one of my Asian friends come up to me and he said to me, Lawrence, do you think if that was an Asian youth club, they could close it down? But as black people, we just sit by and expect somebody else to do it. We're not together, because even with the killings and the murders and stabbings and shooting, all the fathers and mothers know each other. So how and why? I know we can blame a bit of it on society, which is right, but we have to take some responsibility. And I think as a community, if we were more together, most of this wouldn't happen. I went to a meeting. I know I'm jumping a bit.
No, feel free to jump, because about your experience, you know what I mean?
You
Because
know,
everything is interrelated and everything about your life is interconnected. So yeah, feel free.
When all this started in 2008, I got a feel, you know, true, I'm still on the streets and whatever.
Yeah, man.
I could see what was happening in London, you know, postcode and all that. I went to the leader of the council and I said to her, we need to do something because it's going to head up this way. Well, she told me to talk to the head of the youth service at the time. I got in touch with him.
Okay.
He got back in touch with me.
Okay.
And told me thanks for my interest, you know. But he said, at present, they're doing great work in Marsh Farm and Lucy Farm, so my services wasn't required. Anyway, when the young lad got killed, I reminded the leader that I offered my services as well to see if I could actually do something, because I know both sides. I know their parents. I know some of the youngsters. And I still have a little bit of influence where I can talk to certain people and they're willing to back me to try and do something. Well, she fobbed me off again. You know, I even got in touch with that idiot, Ali Mers.
Okay, yeah.
I made a phone call because he had made a comment that he doesn't know how to get the community and blah, blah, blah. I offered to help. He didn't return my call. And as I said, if the community was more together, we wouldn't have to go through that. The Starlight's closed down. We pay our council tax. We don't get benefits.
Yes.
The two places that black youngsters, but not just black youngsters, because no other race integrate more than us. We're willing to share. Those were closed down. Nobody seemed interested in what was happening to our youngsters to give the support and all that, which is sad. And as I said, I went to a meeting yesterday after the incident, and they've been having meetings all the time, and I'm just saying I don't go to a lot of them because all they seem to do is have meetings for the sake of meeting. Well, at this meeting yesterday, I spoke my mind, but I also looked around the room.
And this meeting, just for those who are just locked, it concerns a recent. Did the youngster pass away, or is it a critical? What was it?
No, It concerns after there was an incident in town where two groups were fighting each other. Then after that, it led to an incident where some youths went to a house looking for somebody, couldn't find them and so on. And then a repercussion of that was a shooting in Marsh Farm.
Yeah, okay.
So as usual, they wait till it's happened and then they call a meeting.
Yes.
Even though this group, I believe, have been meeting on a regular basis for 2 years, but I don't know what they've been doing. So at that meeting, you had police, you had Ollie Mers, you had people from different parts of the council and so on, and then you had some guys from Marsh Farm, Glenn Jenkins, and a couple of others, and then you had the Non-Violence Alliance, but most of them was officers and all that.
Okay.
And I was astonished because I made a comment and a councillor at the meeting says, because I asked, well, where's all these community groups
I was about to say, yeah, because I'm hearing the names that you're calling there.
Well, I didn't see any community groups there, right? And I was asking the questions, well, where's all these community groups? And I believe you've been giving funds to community groups. I don't see much being done, and they're not here. And you know, it was funny because one of the councillors actually got up and says, he sort of agrees with me, because he says, when there's a bit of fun to be handed out to do something, there's loads of group that turn up and say they can do this and they can do that.
Wow.
But when there isn't any funds, he says it seems to be a lack of groups that turn up. So that for me made me say, well, even our own community are letting us down. You know, it was sad at the meeting to see what was taking place, and it seems that I even asked a question. All these groups that are coming there, with community groups and whosoever say they can do that, I challenged them to say, you know what, if you can really help, I'd like to see some of you, maybe at midnight, patrol some of these areas, go and approach the kids. Apart from the Non-Violence Alliance, which is a voluntary group, right? These people that are paying for money to do what? I don't see them out there. And why I'm saddened by it, the youngsters that were arrested was between the ages 17 and 20, right? And you've got the older ones where there's issues. My bigger concern is I've seen the 11 to 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds that are coming up behind that group with nothing to do, nowhere to go. The youth clubs have been closed. And when I check it out, it seems that the youth clubs that have been closed seem to be where it affects black youngsters. Starlight, Lucy Farm, Aqua Ring. I don't know if they've got a youth club in Marsh Farm anymore. So I look at that, and that is where the majority of black young people seem to hang out. So that makes me really, really sad, you know, because I remember doing youth work, coming through it. We met with the police on a regular basis to actually stop some of what was happening. I remember one time I went to a meeting, it was about 1990, 92. A police officer looked at me and he says, Lawrence, do you know this past year we haven't had too much issues concerning black youngsters getting into trouble and all that, because at the time we were making sure that opportunities were there. It wasn't given. We had to fight, we demonstrate, but there was a togetherness. And it seems I had my downfall at the council when they got rid of me. Not sack me, don't get me wrong. What they did was, I think they felt that I was too much to handle, and the further I was getting up the ladder, it was more difficult, because I was coming in and saying, why isn't this happening, why isn't it happening? One time they banned me from leaving the county because I was coming back with issues and saying this is happening and that's happening. And you know, I've been suspended from work, I believe, on 4 occasions. for different reasons.
Okay.
Don't think no other black youth workers in the history of Bedfordshire that's happened to.
What, in the capacity as head of services?
I got twice as head of services and twice as a youth worker. And on none of the occasion I was found to have done anything wrong. So I think that got under their skin. The only other way to get rid of me was restructuring my department. And it was so funny because at the time when it was being done, I wasn't even at work, I was off sick. And interviews were happening. I knew nothing about it. And one day I received a telephone call from my union rep to say, Lawrence, you had an interview this morning for your job. So I says, how can I have interview for my job when I'm off sick? So I got in touch with the human resource and they told me that they sent me a message on my work mobile. Now if I'm off sick, I cannot answer my work mobile. And if you're off sick, you can't have an interview. And normally the process is, if somebody's got an interview and it's short notice, in the past what they've done is they've made sure you've hand-delivered a letter to the person's address.
That sounds much more,
So the person from Human Resource Management said, I've got an hour and a half to get to the interview. And if I couldn't get to the interview, my opportunity of getting a job would be gone, because one of the head of the department that was doing the interview was actually going on holiday the afternoon, so wouldn't be. I went in, I didn't get the job anyway. So when you don't get a job like that, you can apply for other jobs within the council. But most of the other jobs that were available and I tried to apply, I was overqualified, so I automatically became redundant. And I know it's a story I'm telling, and I remember this clearly. There was a solicitor within the council. Hope he's not there anymore. He came and he said, Lawrence, for what they've done and you not getting a job and the way they carried on, you should do them for discrimination. Because I appealed against not getting a job to say how this can happen and so on. The councillors upheld it and said they agreed with what's happened. And anyway, I decided to take him to tribunal, but it didn't get that far. It was settled by ACAS. And at the time when I left, I believe 45% of the full-time workers in the service was black and Asian, and maybe about similar, a little bit more part-time youth workers were black and Asian. And I think there was probably 5 or 6 black youth workers, African Caribbean. And from the day I left, I think most of them have gone. They might have 2 left now. And if the community had been behind the workers, or as a community, I feel we would still be getting the benefits. But it's not there, and this is what it's led to now, where you've got black and black killing. And as I said at the meeting last night, I just said it straight. The reason why no one cares is all they say is, oh, it's just another black person out of the way. We've locked them up, so we're not going to have no problems. It's about time we get up and stand up for ourselves. You know, as people say, for over 400 years we've been suffering, and it's taken that long, and we still can't wake up and see what's happening to us. You know, no other race that I know of in this country are killing each other the way we are, and we don't even know why. So it is, you know, as I said, it affects me so much, in a sense that it is sad to see it happen. And even looking at so-called community group, don't get me wrong, there are groups out there that are doing some work that are quite good, especially with disabled and so on. But grassroots young people that you would say are not within the system, they're not benefiting. the council spent £4 million building some brand new buildings for young people. All right, I heard that some work being done there with disabled young people. I can't knock that, which is good. But how many of these young people that are on the streets, that are seen as problem young people, have used that building or have the opportunity to use that building? Most of them probably don't even know it exists, let alone use the building. I don't know, I'm going on.
No, but you see,
so
it's crucial, Lance, because it's a whole original experience, and this is why it is about looking at what you've done, what you've accomplished, what experiences you've gone through. You know, you've taken us up to the situation now where you settled through arbitration with ACAS, you know what I mean? And so from then, is that when you then what embarked upon the business?
You know, it's funny because even at the time when I didn't have a job, couldn't get a job, I actually offered my services to the local authority. No. I did work in Birmingham on youth work. I went to Doncaster to do work with youth workers, because in Doncaster in the 90s, they were still calling black people coloured people.
Okay.
So the previous youth officer brought me up. Me and Bob went up, we did some work. I did some work in Islington. I've been to Cambridge. Do you know, even talking about youth work, and when I became an youth officer, which was in charge of all of the youth provisions in Luton, I was also the first black person to ever get that job, and the last. And when I say black, African Caribbean.
Yes.
And the last, another thing. You know, and true as I said, I'm when it comes to speaking, a confident person. I used to turn up at meetings and I was the only black person in that room. And when they start talking about, and let's look at issues concerning black young people, and my response was, so where's the black people? And one time one of the response, but you're here, Lawrence. I says, yes, I'm just a youth officer that happens to be black. I'm not just there for the black community. And I say, in the position I am, I'm not suffering in the way the black youngsters are. So at the next meeting, I just brought youngsters with me so that they could actually see for themselves, talk to young people. Because the way I see it, some of these counsellors and other people don't even know what a young person look like. You know, which is also sad. A lot of them believe that all these youngsters are bad people, but they're not. Sometimes all they're doing is crying out for help. Even myself, as I said, I went back to study. And if somebody hadn't come up to me and said, Lawrence, if you really want to, this is what you need to do. This is the path you need to go down. I probably wouldn't be here doing this, what I'm doing now, or got through youth work, been able to help a few people, you know, in different things. You know, there's so many incidents that I could actually give you coming through up to where I am now, especially doing the youth work, community involvement. I've helped different organisations. I think most things, a lot of things that started back late 70s, early 80s, I was involved in. I remember when we had community cricket. Community cricket was Starlight Youth Club versus Gemini Sound. And Gemini Sound wasn't just Gemini Sound, because we had people from Falcon, we had people from Sovereign that made up the 11, and we played against the youth club, where it would be like a family day. And all and behold, as black people, we can't keep hold of anything. We used to use the council's premises and so on, and it became something that was an annual event. All and behold, the council took it over. And the first time the council had it, there was a fight, punch up and so on. That went down the drain. It's the same with the carnival. We got involved, started it, the council take it away. And when I look at that, right, I'm just going to say where I feel, if you look at the Asian community, they're so together. They've got something called the Mela, which goes on every year.
Yeah.
They are in control of it. No one can take it over. Carnival was supposed to be traditionally a black event where we involved everybody. Then, because it was successful, the council took it over to grab the glory.
Yes.
And as I'm saying, as black people, we need to open our eyes and see what's happening. We're no different from anybody else. We pay our taxes. We pay our council tax. We need to see benefits from all of that. And another thing I'd say is, people see a black person trying to get up there. Instead of saying, yes, that man done well, they try to pull him down. You know, it was so funny because when I got suspended from work, I even heard my own community. I heard someone said, ooh, Lawrence get £1 million for black people.
Yes.
And him spend it upon himself and so on. And I'm saying, you know, to be honest, right, the ordinary people on the street, if I hear from them, you know what, I don't say much because it's a lack of understanding of how a local authority operates. But when it's people that you know better, it's sad because any local authority, there's only one person in that authority that can sign a check. And each head of a department, even though they've got a budget, they cannot sign nothing. All they've got to do is make sure that each youth club is within their limit of spending, whether it's gas, electricity, youth workers. So when I hear that, I laugh. I even heard that when I used to take the youngsters to London to the theatre. It's not the theatre I was taking. I was taking them down there so I could bring drugs back to Luton. So, you know, you hear those rumours. So when I was suspended, the support of the community, a lot of my people, wasn't there. But what they could not see was the fact that the local authority, Luton Borough Council, had one black officer who kept being suspended. So even that, they couldn't see, you know, to realize that it wasn't just about me. They were trying to disgrace the community as well.
Yes.
You know, even though, all right, I was found not guilty. I even heard a black councillor come up to me and said, ooh, we were supporting you from inside. I just told them where to go because at the time, I didn't need no one to back me in that sense. The only thing I asked a black councillor to do, I said, you have the power to ask why I've been suspended on 4 occasions and yet at the end of each, nothing. So, you know, so in that sense, it was also sad to know that the support wasn't there and the fight to make sure we had something wasn't there. You know, so
that must have been what almost like soul destroying for you. Is it must say? That must have been really quite concerning, isn't it, Lance?
Yeah, it hurt because why I said it hurt, right? When I say to people that within my business I don't get the support, right? Some people frown at me and say, "Ooh," but I look and I say to myself, within Luton's black community especially, even though I've worked in other community, when there's been issues concerning Asian community, the white community, I've got involved. I've always done things for my own community. If you even look, as I said, I had a sound system. What job did I take up first? Working with my own community. And so on. So I was always giving. If I can even remember my father, God rest his soul, yesterday was the day he's died, right? He used to say to me, one of the reasons why I didn't move up further was because there was a culture within most of these organizations where it's not always what you know, but who, you know. I was someone that I used to go to committee meetings that were held in different places, the drill hall. Committee meeting might finish at 9:30, and most of the councillors and all the officers head for the bar. I head home. And my dad used to say, you leave from your job and you head right back into the community. That's not going to help. But I'm a person that I love my community. And that's where I felt I belong. So if I'm in there to show them that you can get up there and still be part of the community and still give something to it. Where, as I said before, I was a youth officer that happened to be black. My responsibility was for all of the community. Me being suspended and these sort of things was because I was talking out for the community. And instead of getting the support, because I could sit here and I could talk about the number of people that I've helped. You know, I could talk, it's like the Starlight. A lot of people know Bob Baker, who does a lot of work, good work in the community. I was the one, when he came from Derby, that took him to Starlight and introduced him to Silburn and says, this man wants to do youth work. And I said, Silburn, you know me, I'm not getting involved. And me and Bob built up a relationship. So even looking at that, you look at people like Linnis, Bernie, Jackie. Most of them was my boss. And even the actual mayor of Luton right now, Farouk.
Yes.
Farouk
Khan
was one of my staff.
Yes, it's a man. Yes.
You know, so my wings were spread.
And Zufta.
Zufka is his brother.
Yes.
Who was another person that,
yes.
You know, and saying that, Zufka is somebody that we worked with back in the day at the Starlight Youth Club. And he was upset as well, because if they'd still been sharing it with us, it would still be here now, because they're a community that stick together. You know, so those are some of the things I was involved in. But as I said, I felt hurt that all my life has been dedicated to my own, because even if when you look, I went into business, the business was supplying stuff mainly to my own community. You know, and it's funny because I know we'll talk a little bit about that. I've always said, when I got involved in the business, I always used to say, I have no fear until someone from the Asian community comes into town and starts selling what I had. You know, because I remember one time, you know, business was good. I had 5 staff, black staff. They weren't all full-time. And as soon as the Asian shop opened selling our stuff, they all deserted me. And you know, some of the funny things that happened, you know, someone would turn up at my shop to collect their free CD that they'd won from the radio station, come and go, oops, Lawrence, I never knew it was your shop. And my response was, it shouldn't matter whether it's my shop or not. You should be trying to support your own as well. I'm not saying don't support others, but fact is, 80% of what we spend with others. That's why we have no power. We have no say. We're divided. Instead of supporting, you get complaints. So I look at all of that and say, for somebody that's been in the town for so long, for somebody that's pioneered in the town for so long, for somebody that's got involved in things. I remember myself, Bob and a couple of us, we set up a black housing association, African Caribbean Housing Association, where we got a grant from the housing association, and we worked with UGIMA, which was the biggest black housing association in Britain to set up. And when it was opened, we did our opening different from most people. We invited dignitaries and councillors and all that, but not to stand up on some stage and give speeches. They just came as any ordinary person, where when the young people were there, I was just saying, he's in charge of housing, he's in charge of education. And you know, at the time, these councillors were they were overwhelmed, because I don't think things like that normally happen, because they don't normally meet with youngsters on a one-to-one basis like that, where questions were asked. So, as I said, I could sit here and talk about so many things that I was involved in. You know, some of them I have to laugh at when I see certain things happening. I'm saying, you know what? When I talk, especially about young people and doing youth work, I'm not talking from hearsay. I've done my 5 years. After my 5 years, I even went to Malden Hospital for 6 months, which is Britain's top drug and alcoholic place. You know, even they used to have a place near Dalla Road where they talked about AIDS and whatever. I went in, got knowledge. So I picked up knowledge wherever I could and brought it back to the community, organised events. And when I look back, I'm saying, even to this day, I say to somebody, if our community was more together, my business would have been thriving. But you know what? I just look at it and say, once I get up in the morning, I'll give thanks. If they don't come, they don't come. That is how it is. Now, my shop that I've got at the moment, sometimes it comes in like a community centre. People still come to see me that I've known. I'll sign passport, I'll do this for them. There's people looking a job. I talk to them about making applications for job. Because what I got to realise when I became a youth officer, I was involved in drafting, job description, and so on. And it was then it opened my eyes to why a lot of people don't get jobs, especially black people. They've got the ability and the skills. And what I was seeing on the form was, they'd be saying, I can do this, I can do that. And they'll give you a list of things that can do it. Now, someone looking at a job description and see that anybody could put that down. So what I realized was, you need to say how you did it. And once you're telling them how you did it, that makes them realize that you do know what you're talking about and that you might be capable of doing the job. And this might sound bad, but I don't care what anybody says. In my experience, you have to be a little bit better than your white counterpart as well. Do you know, when I went for the job as a youth officer, this is no word of a lie, the first time I went, after I became qualified to get it full time, in front of 3 councillors, I was the last interview. They had somebody that had been doing a similar job. When I got there and I was being asked question, one of the interviewers were actually fast asleep and yawning. In the end, I complained about it. They said that she was tired because it's been a long day, and they decided to redo the interviews. And I knew they didn't want me to get the job, but most of them that was on the interview panel didn't have much experience of youth work. And I know it was the first time Bedfordshire has ever done this when employing a youth officer. They went all the way to Leicester and got somebody from the National Youth Agency to sit on the interview panel. For me, that was good, because he's going to have somebody that understands youth work. So I didn't have a fear. And you know, it's like, as I said, I got a gift. And when it comes to talking about young people and helping young people, I'm very passionate. Because as I said, I came from the street. They had people there that was qualified. I've been doing the job for a time. But lucky enough, I went in, did my thing, and I was able to get the job. So those are some of the things that happened to me. You know, I can talk about incidents of being a youth officer. They used to have a regional meeting of youth officers, was held in Cambridge and around different areas. And I remember I went all the way to Cambridge for this meeting and I turned up at the reception and I said, good afternoon. She says, yes, can I help you? I said, I've come to attend the officers' meeting. She looked up at me and I think, her jaw dropped because I don't think she actually believed me at the time that this black person is actually a youth officer. And as I said, those are the things that I used to put up with. I will say that I also did a lot of work with the police because at that time also I was so passionate about our community. And one of the things that happened was new recruits in Bedfordshire, I had an opportunity to speak to them, not on my own, but with other black youth workers, to tell them what it was like to be black, what the relationship we had with the police, and how we was treated by the police. You know, incidents like that. So that was there. A lot of that has gone from what's happening in these times where you don't have a relationship. They dropped all of that, where they would come and pick up some knowledge and understanding. And that's why I'm saying that in these times they don't really care, because they don't really get involved in learning more, being involved. Yesterday I went to the meeting, and do you know, as I said, I drift from one to the other. The police were being slated because of their treatment. There was a young man there that said his son was one of the people that got shot at, right? And yet it's his son that was arrested at the time, and he was the one that got shot at, and it's because he was angry because the officers burst into the shop. He said, you know, who are you, blah blah blah, guns blazing and all that sort of thing. And he even said when they came to his house, the mother was abused by the police. As I said, I wasn't there. When he says abuse, the way they were spoke to her, you know, get out the way or you will, you know, and they're going to tase her, who and tase her. So where you'd have thought times have changed and they want to learn more about the community.
Yes.
It seems that we've gone back 30 years, but some of it we have to take the blame for it because we haven't moved on, we haven't united, we're more divided.
www.sfdcradio.com, you're locked in. Yes, we're going to come with one tune. Maybe you can get that juice and, you know, and come back in. But it's quite interesting. It's food for thought. If there's any questions, any sentiments you do want to get through, yes, do remember to sfdcradio.com. Yes, we're there via Skype. And our contact number is, wait there again, folks.
It's 07434603589.
We can run some tune and catch the head right after a few tracks. Boom.
You come from Rome with your tombstone. Why, Billy Rat? Where you going to run? Why, Billy Rat? Where you going to hide? Say you're building fire. It's your heart desire, and you must retire. 'Cause you're building fire. These are the writing and the wall, reminding I and I that Babylon kingdom must fall. Do unto I, and I will do unto you, my brother. Why Billy Rat? Where you going to run? Why Billy Rat? Where you going to run? Say you're building fire. It's your heart desire, and you must retire. 'Cause you're building fire. For when you say love to your brother, you mean war. Babylon at last. I feel like tearing down the curtain. Hear me sing, hear me sing. White belly rat, where you going to run? White belly rat, where you going to hide? Say you're building fire, it's your heart desire, and you must retire, 'cause you're building fire. For when you say peace to your brother, you mean war. And when you say peace to your neighbor,
locked into the A1 station, yes. Welcome to the show. Members at www.sfdcradio.com, yes. Yes, we have our guest in the studio, yes. Mr. Lawrence Palmer. We're here. A couple more Studio One selection. It's a coming original Johnny Osborne.
just humble yourself and stand firm in the earth, my friend, and let your
special greetings, Mama Africa, the whole of Africa, we say all time, every time.
ever beautiful Lord. Jah gave us this world to live in. Gave us everything.
Studio One selection, catch them style, yeah.
Come a time when darkness covers the face of the earth, Lord. And you'll need a guiding hand to guide you through the darkest night.
It's a classic, Johnny Osborne, original Forgive Them. www.sfdcradio.com. We'll come a little live. Yeah, man, tell them on original every time. Remember, say 24/7s were there, original every time. Yes, Studio One selection.
Slave in a Babylon. I never be no wicked man. I am a slave in a Babylon. I never
remember say originally every time Studio One selection, some of the classics them. Yes, before we come in with Lawrence, back bring in one more. Somebody mash up the dance. Don't get vexed about the dance. Earl 16.
Don't mash up the dance.
As we come out in the land, as we come in on the scene, my brethren them a keep a session. Them say 16, we want you come on. So as we dance, getting irate, just as the dance start to swing. Me and me dad, I do it. The law officer and the soldier, they take it over. A patient them start to fire. Mash up the dancing on me area. Cause on the street and out a road, the dance start, it overload. The entertainer them a DJ and sing. Me and me dad, I do it. Just as the dance, just a get nice. The law officer and the soldier, they take it over. With their bushmaster, the M1 and Bosa, and the 21 shooter. Mash up the dancing at the area. Them send for the Black Maria. Cause out that street, yes out that road, them are behind, we go and road. The band that come from up walking. Some of them leave up and up walking. But don't mess up the dance. No, don't mess up the dance. As we come in the land, as we come on the sea, me begging them a keep by station. Them say 16, we want you come up. Just as the dance I get high, just as the dance start to see. Me and me dad, I do it. The law officer and the soldier, they check it over. My fear shot them start to fight.
Oh, we are tell you.
Mash up the dance in the
Mash up the dance and they relax into the one station. Welcome to Vibration. Yes, our guest, Mr. Lawrence Palmer. Yes. Remember them through the Earl 16 and mash up the dance hall.
Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Remember them tune there. As a matter of fact, it's when I big up people. I know say Earl 16 a train a brethren.
Yes.
And the Falcon
Yes.
Crew. You know what I mean?
From long time down. I tell you, a true Lawrence.
Yeah, boss, you know, it's funny. I know we are talking about the community and all that. I'm a man, I no name drop. But when me hear people are going about this and that, you have to say sometimes you can, mention. And you know, even coming in here, Kush, you know, it's from time I've been asked to do interviews and so on.
Yes.
I used to do a lot of interview. But when I used to do the interview was when I was doing the youth work, because I wanted people to know what was happening. And for years, I've heard things that I was supposed to have done and I haven't done. And I've never, I've just looked at it and say, make them go on. But I thought, you know what? It is time
set the record straight.
Some people,
yes,
something about me, where I was coming from, and where I was heading. Some of the things that was said about me, not to my face, you hear rumors. And I'm someone that I say, you know what? I used to pick up the newspaper, and when I hear somebody say them talking about me, I used to say to people, who do they talk about? People that is famous, so I must be famous. So that's why them talking about me. But as I said, it comes a time when you have to stand up and say, enough is enough, in a sense. And even the meeting I went to last night, I've been invited to other meetings, but as I said, a lot of these meetings is just having a meeting to arrange another meeting. And now groups, individuals that are out there that's saying that they're doing this or they can do this, I said to myself, you know what? It's time that them stand up and be accounted, right? So I said, you know what? Some of them might need exposing. I should need exposing.
So what was that meeting about, though, Lawrence? Fundamentally, what was that meeting about?
Well, do you know, I can't even remember what the group's called, but it was set up quite some time ago, and they're supposed to meet, discuss the incidents, put into plans, make action plans, and so on.
Okay.
Of what needs to be done and what work's been done. And it seems like them have a lot of meeting, them have a lot of action plan, them have a lot of strategy.
Okay.
But guess what?
What?
The grassroots can't see none of it happening.
Okay, what?
But on the other hand, one of the questions I asked, because I had a one-to-one, is in my time, when we was doing work and funds was given to groups to do projects, you had to actually, at the end of the project or the ongoing of the project, you have to actually forward, let them know what took place.
Be accountable. Transparency.
And all that. And I'm saying, because I said to the person, I said, if you're not giving money for groups,
yes,
who's overseeing it?
The accountability.
Yeah. What's the outcome?
Transparency.
Yeah. How many youngsters have it benefit or what? You know, and the person just sat there and I haven't had an answer. You know, and one of my reasons for not speaking out before was that it could affect some genuine groups that are doing work. If I was to say, well, this is not happening, that is not happening, a genuine group might put in for funds and then they'll say, well, we're giving funds to other groups, because it's happened over and over before. So you look at it and you say, you know what, these youngsters need help, they need support, they need guidance, right? It's reached a stage where, you know, it's funny because sometimes you will blame a parent for some of what the youngsters get up to. And you know, it's strange because I got a daughter that she's doing well for herself, right? And I remember I sat her down to try and tell her this is what, you know, should be and all that. And you know, she didn't actually listen to me, right? But I had a cousin from Birmingham who came down. He's a lawyer, and he said the same thing to her, and she heard it. And you know, I learned from that, because what it is with some parents, if we want to see our kids doing well, we believe we're talking to them, but we're not. We're talking at them. And if you're talking at them, they're not going to take it in. You need to talk to them. So even that, me as somebody, as I said, this is a few years back now, maybe about 15 years, someone that's got some qualification, didn't even realize that until parents were saying, but Lawrence, how come when I talk to my, you know, I had to say to them, because we're so passionate about our kids, we tend to talk at them instead of to them. So when somebody else comes and is showing them something, it's more talking to them. So there's, you know, some of it is simple things that we need to do, but also, you know, it's even the system, right? This could be controversial, but schools, there's no discipline. You can't even touch the kids. At home, you can't even discipline them now because they will call the police. My mother said that, and without me being frightened of my mum and dad, I probably would have gone off the straight and narrow. Things that I did at the street and I got involved with, my parents never knew till I'm big in my 40s, because I was so frightened for that to happen. Now, as far as discipline's concerned, as I said, with my parents, I listen to my parents, and my mother has this saying where my mother said, and me bring you, and you bring me, and make anybody come in here, come tell me, oh, for bring up my kids. Now, my mother didn't beat me or whatsoever. She gave me some licks, and without that, I wouldn't have headed in that direction. All right. I'm not saying that you don't get rid of that in school, the beating and all that. But if you're going to remove something, then you need to put something in place.
Yes, yes.
And my reason for saying that, if you're going to take away a club like the Starlight, where all the black youngsters go to, what do you put in place?
A true one.
And if you put nothing in place, then what do you expect to happen? You know, it's another thing I see with organizations, the police and other groups. Local authority. Something's happening. They firefight, so they get there after it's happened. They start doing some work and they put some workers in, and the work's going on and going on. As soon as things have quietened down, instead of maybe cutting back a little bit, but make sure the work's continuing because there's other youngsters coming through, they stop it.
Everything stop.
Everything stop and done.
Until judgment again, and there's another death.
And then something else happened, and they realize, well, hey, and that is something I could never understand, because I'm saying, all right, if you've got 5 workers and they're dealing with something and it's happening and it's slowed down, take away 2 of the workers. Keep 2 because others are coming through. And I think I said it earlier. One of the things yesterday they had on the agenda was community fear. Right. So what it was, it gave people the opportunity to say what their fear was. And I tell you the truth, I just looked at the police and said, my fear is that within the next 3 months, another black youngster is going to die. You know, they looked at me and I says, the reason is I don't believe that they want to solve some of it. All right. I know if you look at, say, a black person kills a white person, somebody goes to jail, somebody gets arrested. Right? If a white person, white youth, stab another white youth or whatsoever, you see something happens. A black youngster kills a youngster or something, a lot of the times nothing happens. And you know why I'm even concerned with the youngsters? Because I think what a lot of them don't realize as well, right, is that the way they're going on, their lives are finished. Because if you have somebody stab someone, he goes to jail. And in this time, you go to jail, whether you're black, white or whatever, there isn't much chance when you come out. Worse if you're a black person. So they've ruined their lives anyway. So when they come out, what's left for them in that sense? And you know, as I said, there is nothing there to guide them away from it. No provisions. Because as I'm saying, I'm up in Lucy Farm. I go to the shopping centre. Say you pass there any evening, you know, between say about 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You see the youngsters. And I'm talking 10, 12, 13, 14. Now, they got nothing to do. The gates of the shopping centre is locked at 9 o'clock. So what are they doing? They're riding around on the streets. There's nobody engaging them. There's nobody trying to, well, I shouldn't say no, but there's a few people, I suppose, that try without the support. But the local authorities seem to, when it comes to the black community, what I've found is that they'll say, don't worry about them. They'll form some community group to deal with it. Yet, there is funds supposedly there for the whole community. So, why are we not benefiting from it? Do you know, even at the meeting, because when I go to meetings, I listen to things, right? And I remember a councillor was talking about what was happening. He says, yes, we need to look at budgets and where it's spent and prioritise. And I sat there and I thought to myself, prioritise? So that means they do not value life. Because if they valued life, the priority, you'd know what it is. You know what? We need to put that top of the agenda to get some funds, no matter where from, to be able to avoid that. Don't get me wrong, there's other needs, but what is a life? All right, you might say, all right, you have a area of Luton that might need some work doing to it, developing and whatsoever. All right, you might, in some cases, you have some older people that might be suffering from cold and whatever, which needs to be looked at. But they're alive. So if you want to prevent a death, don't you think that would be a priority?
And that's the word it says, prevent. You see, the preventative measures, you see, has been better than the cure. You know, yes.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually saying. Instead of looking at preventative measures, they always seem to after the fact.
Yes, well, look at
and
it,
even though after the fact, they still don't do nothing.
Yes.
Because, all right, I think this has been going on full on now for at least 2 years. Where's the grassroots work? You know, you talk to the lads on Marsh Farm Estate, Lucy Farm, Aqua Ring. Nobody's been up there to say, we need to talk to you, see what we can do to help. The only people that have been up there is police.
Yes.
I remember last year,
I tell you.
I actually bought the Daily Mail, and there was a picture of Marsh Farm with the police, and you know, guns, dogs, and everything. And the headline was, you would think this was Beirut or somewhere like this. No, it is a little sleepy town called Luton. Now, you look at that and you're thinking, well, they've got police on the street, riot police and all that. Where is the work being done with the youngsters? Because, all right, all they're doing is saying, well, if there's police, maybe something won't happen or it won't. But they can't keep police on the street 24/7, 7 days a week, and so on. So I have to look at the local authority, because the police are there to prevent crime and so on. The local authority are supposed to be there to make sure there's prevention. They've also got some sort of responsibility for certain young people to make sure they're guided in the right direction. Now, as I said, there's work being done. If you look at youth clubs, right, that's there. When I look at a youth club, what happens with a youth club is that it's not so much sometimes about the work being done. It's just like the health service and whatsoever and all those other services. It's about numbers. It's about the number of young people you get into a club. You know, oh, I've got 30 young people coming in the club. They are not the ones that need the help and the support, because if they're coming in there already, the support is there. It's the ones that are on the streets, right? But then again, talking about youth clubs, because a lot of them have been closed, they don't have nowhere to go.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not saying that other groups don't suffer from the same thing, lack of resources, but we seem to suffer the most. And as I said, I'm only talking from experience. And even with the community groups, they need to look at it and say, you know what, we've got a town, we don't have a centre that could be identified as a black centre. And when I say a black centre, it's not just there for black people, but it's also there that at least different race can come, learn about us, get to know us, because we're quite open and we're quite friendly. Now, I don't know how many black organisations they've got in Luton doing things. What I find is that, why can't 3-4 of them get together and say, listen, let's bid together or go together to raise funds and work together. It seems that some of the groups are glory seeking. So unless my group is leading, I don't want to work with another group.
That's what's going on.
And if the word's supposed to be working community, surely they should be coming together, because the more we are, the stronger we are.
Yeah, unity
now,
strength.
If you've got 20 groups and there's only £1 to share, how do you share it? Well, let's get together and we use the £1 for one cause. And every time we're applying for one cause, we're doing it together, and so on. It would also, as I said, when you have problems, you get all these people say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then I'm saying, but wait, you're doing that and you're doing that, but you're both doing the same thing with lack of resource. Why don't you combine, put your resource together and work together for the one aim? Because I believe the youngsters of today are going to be the men and women of tomorrow. if we don't show them the right way and guide them in the right way, then where are we going to be? But then again, as I said before, to me, the black youngsters are never going to get the opportunity to be up there anyway. So there's that as well, where, as I said earlier, they do not care.
Yeah, and something needs to be done because you see, because we then not caring against Lawrence, because I know we're going to have to go round up as we look, maybe realize the time and move on so fast. But cool, yeah, it's a mercy because you know, like I said again, I'm very much concerned about elders like yourself in the community, yeah, and again, it's like you give people warning of what's going to happen, and as if something. Because I know there was another incident where. I think you had a knife incident outside your shop, and it's like again you'd have to go deal with it.
Do you know that incident is funny because when the police mentioned the incidents that they attended to, they didn't mention that. And I actually said to him,
right.
How many police officers did it take you to stop what happened in town and dealt with it? I said, I dealt with a similar incident where somebody could have been stabbed,
yeah,
and I managed to prevent that
on
my own. Not because I'm a big bad man or anything, but the fact is the youngsters know
them know
who
your
I
man,
was.
and they respect you. And
so it wasn't a case of one of them was going to stab me. One had a knife.
Yeah.
You know who was going to stab. I went in between, I pulled, stopped him and whatever. Now, I'm saying that if youngsters, some have respect for me, and I had an opportunity to work with them, I wouldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it on my own. But there's people within the community, you know. Now, I know we're running out of time, but I would like to give some advice to some of the community groups out there.
Yes,
and the only
please.
advice I would like to give them, right, because I know that if I walk from town to Marsh Farm to Lucy Farm with a list of so-called black community organisation and ask people, do you know about this group? Do you know what they're doing? Do you know what they're supposed to do? And so on. A lot of people would not know. So my advice is, if you're doing something, if you belong to a group, you need to let the wider public know about your group, know where they can get in touch, and so on. Go out and spread your wings. Let them know, because it's no good someone say, oh, but I'm doing this, oh, but I didn't know that. Oh, yes, don't keep it a secret.
True, the radio stations were here, accessibility is here, Skype's here, phones here, text is the one of the social media mechanisms, everything here, so you know there should be no reason. I want to give thanks to Mr. Lawrence Palmer again, yes, living elder, yes, in the community, and like we say, you know, it continues because you know the whole struggle continues, part 3, 4, it continues because life continues, and right now there's things that you know that needs to be done in the community. We see incidents that's still going on now. And you know, again, you know, the community is going to need accessibility to elders like Mr. Lawrence Palmer, because when people think that sometimes it's no better, the better is coming, as we can see, you know what I mean, look how much years gone, no better not come, and you know what I mean, no better not come, based upon the man knowledge and experience, and the man burning desire to do what is also natural, it's like, you know.
Do you know, I got a cut in there as well, because I know, Kush, not because you're in front of me, right? You're similar to me. I like talk shows, and I know that you've asked me a few times to come in before, and I know that you've asked some of these community groups to come in, be interviewed. You know, all right, if there's going to be another interview with myself, you know what I'd like? Couple of these community groups to be in here with me to answer some of the questions. Stand up and be counted, right? I'm not a community organisation, right? I try to help people, and as I said, I got a shop, which is for another time, but the amount of people that have come in to me to ask advice, not because I'm better than nobody else, but it's because my knowledge, experience and so on. Even today I was talking to a friend who's got some issues at work, and because of what I went through at work, discipline and all, I know procedures, and I was able to give advice on that. And guess what? My advice is free. But I don't charge nobody. Sometimes I get angry and say, listen, I've got a shop, and the shop is there for people to buy. And you know, some of these people that come in, whether to sign something for them and give them some advice, they don't even shop in my shop. But guess what? That's not how I am. If I can help somebody, I help them, because they say knowledge is power. So I feel that some of these community groups have got some knowledge of how to get funds, but they keep it under wraps.
Yes.
So the ordinary people that are out there, willing to do work, want to do work, ask for funds, but they do not know the procedures. And on one other note, I was also approached to run as a local councillor. It's been happening for years where I've been asked.
I'm
and
not
I've said,
surprised.
And
Yes.
I've said no.
Okay.
But now,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, somebody
Yeah,
says,
'cause,
Lawrence,
you know,
you've got to be stand up and be count. If you don't do it, you're talking about doing things. Others might say, you know what, let's get involved. And I've actually said yes, and I'm not saying which party, but it's none of the ruling parties at the moment. We need changes, because they've been there a long time, and I would like to represent one of the estates, preferably Marsh Farm.
Okay.
You know, I've lived in Marsh Farm
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
long before some of these youngsters were even born, so I know the parents and whatsoever. I know the suffering. And as I said, I know both sides, and I know the link from outside Luton. You know, because as I said, Sound, I've been around, so, you know, some of the people, they're shocked when they've come up and say, I never knew you was up here, Lawrence. So, yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, man, but I tell you, something else we're going to continue, because you don't know, say, so much problems in the world and the community. Want to give thanks, a special tribute to a living elder, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, for coming to the studio each and every time. Blessed.
Lost that love before. I cried mad and I closed the door. 'Cause it seems like just once more, baby came and you took control. You touched my very soul. You always show me that loving you is where it's at, 'cause you make me so very happy. I'm so glad you came into my life. The others were untrue, but when it comes to loving you, ain't no one can stop me and you. 'Cause baby came and you took control. You touched my very soul. You always show me that loving you, it's where it's at. 'Cause you make me so very happy. I'm so glad you came into my life.
Definitely looking for a discussion around the table. We're going to be putting out. We want a panel. We want our community leaders. And we want discuss. We want to find out what's going on. We want everybody to know, and we're going to encourage each other to try and come out so we can discuss and look things, because meanwhile, while people are getting funding money and doing this and doing that, you know, the youth them are dead off about the place. Safe journey home, Mr. Lawrence Palmer. Talk soon, catch up soon. When the things that were done, really, we just a come.
You touch my very soul. You always show me that loving you is where it's at. 'Cause you make me so very happy. I'm so glad you
I'm going to tell you, reach every time, safe journey home, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, we're going to continue. Safe journey home, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, blessed love. 11 minutes to go.
When you're young and in love, oh yeah. When you're young and in love, life should be more better.
Mr. Lawrence Palmer, living elder. This is the living roots artist. We'll continue with some of the Barrington Levi.
We should sit and talk things over.
Young and in love.
Than each other, life would be more better. Hey, and to understand each other, life would be more worthwhile for living. Oh, so I don't want to deal with no one. Young and in love, we should live more better. We should understand each other. We should understand each other. When we're young and in love, we must live more better. We should talk it over. Understand each other.
I tell you about the reggae dance, Alberto and them man, still a master from them time to know. Living legend. Barrington Levy, special tribute, Living Roots All Dance All Legend. Track title Never Tear My Love Apart.
Girl, you made yourself a necessity to my life, hoping that we would never part. Because my heart would be torn all apart. Please, girl, tell me, say you promised me faithfully and truly you never tore my love apart. Because looks are deceiving, speech are conceiving, but my love is truly believing. So girl, don't take my love for attraction. Oh yeah, yeah. You just a girl I need in my direction. Everywhere I go. Hey now, Mona. Oh yeah, whoa, yeah, yeah.
original Barrington Levi classically. As the time move on, we're squeezing one more before we're squeezing one more after that one there. Remember, say 24/7 hours, check out what's going on. Gotta love your brother, man. So says Barrington Levy. www.sfdcradio.com. Catch them in style, yeah.
Don't bad mind your brother, man. Don't bad mind your brother, man. You should be always thinking of it.
Don't bad mind your brother, man.
Should be always thinking.
Some man I learn that the hard way.
Don't try to envy yourself.
Accountability, transparency in these times. We can't watch the youth them are dead off. People are quick to go get funding money and and talk about them have solutions, them can do this, them can do that. Cold dead and ass fat. And when the time comes, we're not seeing no conferences, we're not seeing this, we're seeing more fun and more party going on. Meanwhile, the youth them get dead off and kill off each other on the street, and there's no focal point, no focal center. We want to invite the whole of the people in the community to a rush for the guns and a rush for the money.
Whether they are poor, already they got.
It's not your personal money. If it's your personal money, your business that. We're talking about public domain money, fund for people and money.
Don't try to fight against it. Do good and good will follow you.
Big up to the whole SFDC family. Big up to the more fantastic SILVERFOX. The whole of the family members say folks 24/7 run up on those cyber world. Do see what's going on. Support the station. Send in your inspiration. Send in your food for thought. Send in your positive criticism. Everything is welcome. Want to give thanks and praise for each and everyone for taking time to lock it in originally. 5 minutes ago before we seal up the vibration, just watch it.
The only free man you got is a Rasta man. Regardless of my European, I am from England.
I want to give thanks and praises for everybody for taking time to log into the A1 station www.Sir.Kush. We say give thanks again every time. Give thanks again, Honorable Mr. Lawrence Palmer Elder, for coming in to that tribute to also Barrington leaving. Give thanks to all our silent listeners, all those in the chat room. Once in one blessed love go out to my Empress every time. Give thanks for your love and your strength every time. Big it up to the whole SFDC family. To all our listeners all over the world, Mama Africa. Give thanks for your love every time. Catch me Monday and Wednesday here. Big yo go out to Scrumptious, Brother Tyrone, World Tide Fireman. Big things going on. Brother Mandingo on the Monday show, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Watch out for that. Don't trouble the Rastaman with there. I do the King's work. It's just time and again. I'm out of here. Blessed be our Lord. The Goose no gas, gonna marry, we gonna marry Mombas, Haile Selassie, and press men in our first name. Rastafari, bless.
Don't hurt the Rastaman, for you don't know that Rastaman not trouble no one.
Ever since I was a youth, I've always been searching for my roots. But having been told so many lies, truth crossed to the earth will one day rise. Education, knowledge and understanding leads to wisdom. So don't be like those who discard education for vanity. Education is like a two-edged sword that can be used either for the progress of mankind or for the destruction of mankind. It should be our constant desire and endeavor to develop our education for the benefit of mankind. Education develops the intellect, and the intellect distinguishes man from other creatures. One of the most important contributions we can give to our children is a good education. It is education that enables a one to harness nature and utilize her resources for the well-being and improvement of all life. Therefore, education is information, and information has the power to reprogram your mind like a computer. Information is power. It is through education and trained intelligence that knowledge can be acquired for a better life. Therefore, spiritual and cultural education is the means for protecting not only the individual but also humanity. Let us not disrespect the education that takes place in the home. Let us not forget the education that takes place in the church. Let us not forget the education that takes place in our community. Let us not forget that education is a lifelong process. So do remember that a good education should not be one which prepares students for a good remuneration alone. It should be one that can help and guide them towards acquiring clear thinking, a fruitful mind, and an elevated spirit. Free thy mind from mental limitations and from all restrictions.
SFDC Radio.com. I'm much of the world.
SFDC Radio.com.